mask, cause it always shows. Do I wanna try? Can I let it go? Running from the past, wanting to be sure. Chaos in my mind, constant deja vu. But every time, it comes back to you. Whoa, I'm still falling. Whoa, but it tastes bittersweet. Whoa, I keep on falling. Whoa, I like the taste of it. Blacking out, fret just fading day by day. I'm reaching out for someone who can take away the pain I feel, the things I haven't done at all. I've lost my way, but how it felt I can't recall. Do I wanna try? Can I let it go? Running from the past, wanting to be sure. Chaos in my mind, constant deja vu. But every time, it comes back to you. Whoa, I'm still falling. Whoa, but it tastes bittersweet. Whoa, I keep on falling. Whoa, I like the taste of it. Whoa, I'm still falling. Whoa, but it tastes bittersweet. Whoa, I keep on falling. Whoa, I like the taste of it.
So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the. I'm coming for the throne. Coming for the throne. So you wanna be my enemy? You should've known I'd never kiss the rain. Ice runs in my veins. Won't play it safe. I don't belong with your nobility. Who died and made you king of anything? You think that I'm insane? It's your mistake. Kingdoms rise and fall. I've come to take it all. I'll take it. I've come to take it. Kingdoms rise and fall. I've come to take it all. I'll take it all. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the. I'm coming for the throne. I'm coming for the throne.
I'm lost in a city, still so far from home. I've searched for you all my life. Cast out like a shadow, racing towards the light. I pray to see you one more time. Watch me fall apart. I've always loved you more than you know. Father, don't you let me go. City nights and satellites. When I'm old and losing sight, carry me home all through the night. I need your love, I need your light. Like city nights and satellites. When I'm old and losing sight, carry me home all through the night.
I'm walking around in the circle of life, doing the things I know, walking the same ways 100 times with the same soul. But do you ever try to path on the right side, put it up in your mind? But do you ever try to path on the left side, put it up in your mind? It's gonna be alright. You run, try, roll your mind. 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 Seeing all the watering fill your eyes, doing the things they know, talking about the same old stories they've heard about the people they think they know. But do you ever try to path on the right side, put it up in your mind? But do you ever try to path on the left side, put it up in your mind? It's gonna be hard. You run, try, roll your mind. You run, try, roll your mind. You run, try, roll your mind. You run, try.
So dark and cold-hearted, I'm breathless to say the least. So far from a superstar, and my daydreams are killing me. Feel like I'm losing my mind. I'm never feeling okay. Good days are so hard to find. Just help me numb all the pain. I'm only one step from dying. My angels keep it at bay. Can't blame the people for trying. Just let me fall to my grave. Just let me fall to my grave. To kill it. Just let me fall to my Just let me fall to my grave. Heart fails under pressure. Wonder if these bad days will last forever. So pessimistic from the past. All the good things end up in caskets. I'm never feeling okay. Good days are so hard to find. Just help me numb all the pain. I'm only one step from dying. My angels keep it at bay. Can't blame the people for trying. Just let me fall to my grave. Just let me fall to my groove. Secure. Just let me fall to my Just let me fall to my grave.
There is a place where you can run free. Time does not exist. Take a chance when the road before us falls under our face. I can't hold on. I can't remain so strong. We have the same old bond, but everything is wrong. My love is gone, but I've been born. I can't make it on my own.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Welcome back to the POG AVGL Summer Meltdown. It's the second day of the tournament. We are bringing you the losers finals and the grand finals today. Shouldn't be all that long before we go live into game one. I am Terrain, and joining me on the desk is the same person who was with me yesterday for the brief period that we were on for the first two games of the day. How you doing, David?
I am doing wonderful. Now that we've finally stumbled through the title of our stream,
Don't worry about it.
we are going to
Don't
be
worry about
getting,
it.
like you said, into our losers finals match first before our grand finals. The losers finals match coming up is between Team 1 and Team 3. They've been battling their way through the bracket to get here. Team 1 making it up to the winners finals yesterday. Team 3 got knocked out into losers after the first round and making that run through the losers bracket to get here to the losers finals to compete for a spot against Team 8 in our grand finals, which will be the next match coming up directly after this one.
Yeah, and just to put it into reference, the team that Team 3 fell to in the very first round of the winners bracket was a team that then got knocked to the losers bracket by Team 8, the ones who are in the finals. So it was a very competitive bracket on that side in which Team 3 had to go through. It would have been difficult for them to even make it further in the winners bracket, but most of the games we've had in this tournament have been close, and the games that haven't been close have been in series that were close. So it's nice to see that these teams, even if they make it to the losers bracket, still have a good chance at competing. Now, there is an added little bit of trickiness to Team 3 going into today. They are playing with two subs in their top and jungle roles, I believe. I'm not sure if they can actually swap up those roles, but it's going to be two new players that they did not play with yesterday going into this game and hoping to make their former teammates proud.
Additionally, we have one swap up for Team 1. Who is this mid going to be disgracing their summoner name and moving to the bottom lane? Packrat going to be switching back up to mid. So they will have that one change up in their roles compared to what they did yesterday.
Yeah, there were definitely some troubles in Team One's play style yesterday, especially in the bot lane. There was not a lot of synchronized play down there. Both the AD carry and the support didn't really synergize super well. The champ pool of Packrat in the AD carry position was also a little bit underwhelming, only going between Ezreal and Kai'Sa. And Ezreal getting banned out every game means you don't have much options. And speaking of options, we're going into Champ Select to see what these teams opt in for game one of this best of one series. So there is only one game. Yep.
That is how that works, yeah. And Kane is the first ban away from Team 1. L10's signature Kane being banned out, firing back. Rapid fire Swain and Karthus, the next one, followed by the Hack Room. What do you make of that?
Karthus was a pick in yesterday's winners finals. It was working out pretty well from what I saw, and Karthus in general is a very good champion for these kind of solo duo tournaments because it kind of mimics solo queue. Karthus being an extremely strong solo queue pick, being able to wipe a team out all over the place. But we have some more picks to talk about as the draft has continued rapid fire thanks to Pro Draft, and a Gwen is actually on the table in this game.
Looks like it's going to be a Gwen mid for IVOBCD as Uwoof, however I decide to pronounce that, is opting for the Wukong in the top lane. Lee Sin in a role that we haven't seen him a whole lot as of late. Definitely still powerful in the jungle, but more recently he's been more popular in those solo lanes. Exasperated, however, going to opt to take the blind monk into the jungle on the other side, the top half, presumably, rounded out. We have GP in the top lane. Trio put on a masterful performance on that champion in our first game that we casted yesterday. L10 on the Nunu, and I'm interested to see where that Gragas is going, because I'm not expecting a Gragas mid, but we haven't seen. I'd be a little bit surprised if Misaki took it to the support. So I'm interested to see where that goes.
We seem to have lost our champion select. We'll see if that can come back anytime soon. I'm assuming some issues on the in-game champion select may have restarted due to a bug in the client, most likely. But we have more time to speak about what we actually got to see picked because it's pro draft. Even once we go back in to the same champion select, we'll be seeing the same champions. So we can look a little bit more into the Gragas pick. It could be going support. It's entirely an option to go in the support role as well. Lee Sin definitely won't be lane swapping out of the jungle as it appears that he has been nerfed to the ground in solo lanes. His E max is no longer quite as strong as it used to be, but E max doesn't really affect his jungle clear at all. He's mostly a Q based jungler, and he can just go jungle just the same as he used to be.
There have been a couple of adaptations that we've seen. The one that comes to mind is we have seen a couple games played of Lee Sin Senna bottom lane. You have the fasting Senna, you have Lee Sin taking the farm, taking the pseudo AD carry, pseudo support role. It helps Senna trade. She walks up with the grasp, stacks her souls, and Lee Sin just uses the safeguard, makes the trade very safe. So there is a potential for that one flex pick. However, I'm not too sure if we're gonna be seeing that because, like you said, he has been toned down in the laning power. So Exasperated may just opt to pick him. For some of the last things that we saw before the draft had to be remade, we did see a Viego ban coming out from Team 3. So L10, or rather, that will not be able to be taken by Team 1.
Yeah, I mean, Viego is just a really great flex pick in general. When we were talking about Team 1 versus Team 2 yesterday, both teams had at least one player who's capable of playing Viego, and I believe it was Packrat. We were looking at him yesterday before he got put into the AD carry role to potentially be playing Viego mid. Because he has a decent win rate on it, he has decent KDA, he's played in ranked before, and he's found success in the mid lane with it. And on top of that, it can be flexed between multiple roles, as I said, so even if they want to take it into the jungle instead of the Nunu, which I don't know why you would do it, but I mean, it's an option, or even just putting it top lane. You have a lot of options with the Viego, and nobody likes playing against it. It's incredibly and literally broken.
Yeah, it's nobody likes playing against it, like you said, and especially in these like solo queue format tournaments where teams aren't quite as cohesive as they might be in a more competitive setting. That champion can absolutely thrive in the chaos that this environment breeds. You get into a fight, somebody happens to get picked somewhere, somebody gets split off, you start the Viego train rolling, you start the resets rolling, and the champion can absolutely take over. So if you're not confident that you're going to get the pick, you're not confident in playing it, definitely ban that one away because it can be a thorn in the side of anyone who has to play against it.
Yeah, I mean, we can look at some of the picks again as the champion select has restarted. There was some trouble, I believe, on who's this mid side trying to pick an AD carry. So hopefully it will be fixed this time around and we can see what the AD carry pick is on Team 1's end. Could have also been Martin Wren, but I just know it was an AD carry bug that was going on. Getting to the second phase of bans. You talked about Viego. What else was there?
What else? Oh, Lucian from Team 1.
Lucian, okay. That would probably be targeted at Martin Wren. There are still AD carries opted to be picked for both teams. Neither team is locked in anything on the bot side yet, unless Packrat's Gragas ends up being support, which I find fairly unlikely, considering how Misaki Sayuri doesn't actually play Gragas, last time I checked. And I'm loving these AD carry picks, actually. Not so much the Callista, but I do like the Ezreal pick, especially when you've got a big AD matchup in the top lane. Gangplank put in so much work yesterday, and be able to tank that up with a Frozen Heart is definitely going to help him out.
Yeah, and looking at the drafts right here, I actually really like the draft from Team 1 because they have a very clear idea of how they want to play the game. They have Nunu,
Yes.
they have Callista, Gragas, Leona. What do these champions all have in common? They are gonna throw themselves at you, crowd control your team up, hard engage all over the place, and that can be a very consistent uh, strategy for winning games. It's very simple to execute when you have these high crowd control champions that just want to engage fights and go. Things become a little bit more difficult when you have, some of those more nuanced game plans. I like seeing the straightforward uh, team compositions in especially these kinds of tournament formats.
Yeah, it's definitely a beef ball composition. I do think there's going to be a lot of trouble playing as the Callista, though, for who is this mid. I
Mm-hmm.
am not 100% sure of experience on the champion as who is this mid is a mid main, but the big problem I see is who is this mid being able to actually out damage Gwen.
Yeah.
Gwen can dash very often, and her auto attacks do a bunch of damage. She could just walk over any AD carry, and even if Callista is dashing around, jumping all over the place, Gwen can still
Mm-hmm.
just dash after her, get an auto attack really quick, follow it up, and just auto attack her to death. You can't really build much into it either as an AD carry, especially over time once there might be healing reduction purchased from the enemy team. Callista starts to start getting hurt quite a bit and can't stack up the Ren stacks quite as
Mm-hmm.
efficiently. On top of that, I do think there's a lot more experience within the bot lane of Team 3. I think the Thresh and the
Yeah.
Ezreal are both great picks, especially together. Both are going to work pretty well into this team that they're ending up to play up against. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure if I really like the Exhaust as a pickup for K21, but I honestly would have liked to see a change in these summoner spells. Probably like a cleanse on the Ezreal with heal on the Thresh, or that or ignite on the Thresh. I just think that would have worked a lot better.
I do see where they're coming from, since for team one side, you really have two sustained damage threats. So
Yeah.
when you get to these fights, after Packrat throws all of their spells, you essentially can just choose one of the sustained threats, either Trio's Gangplank or who is this mid's Callista, depending on who you feel like you need to negate in a fight. Throw the exhaust on them. You can take some time to not worry about them quite as much, or just eliminate them while they do no damage, which just cuts the sustained damage from team 1.5. It lets you get a foothold back in some of these fights if you're not if they don't start off quite as team 3 would want them to do.
I think an argument as well against going the um, ignite or heal instead of the exhaust on Thresh. It's also the fact team already has two ignites. You got a lot of burst
Yeah.
potential, and
Mm-hmm.
slowing down Callista, ooh man, that hurts.
Yeah.
As a Callista player, you do not want to experience a slow, because then your dash and getting off your second auto attack takes like 4 years. You're only going to get one auto attack in the course of that ignite. It's going to be a very rough time to kite out that exhaust. Still
I
think
should
it's
know
going to be
this.
somewhat difficult in the laning phase, at least for Martin Ren in K21, simply due to how much fight pressure there is between that Callista and Leona in the early game. On top of that,
Mm-hmm.
the Nunu as well as the Gragas, possibly focusing the bot lane, since Gragas, or not Gragas, Gangplank can kind of just sit up top, farm his way out, win his trades, and just survive until late game. I think there's going to be a lot of focus in the bot side of the map, and Martin Ren and K21 are going to have a bit to answer for down there. Try to get their team in the game, especially when the rest of Team 3 is likely playing topside.
I just realized that L10 brought exhaust on the unit.
Yeah.
That's an interesting pickup to me. It's gonna be a almost definitely prove to be a very valuable summoner spell if L10 gets into a top or mid 2v2 with either Packrat against the mid jungle or Trio against the top and jungle. Is Nunu on his own doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. Having that exhaust there could really turn the tide of some of those skirmishes should they get into them. However, definitely does take away a lot of safety that L10 could otherwise have if they start getting taken advantage of by exasperated Lee Sin, for example. That exhaust could prove to be kind of detrimental if they need to flash over a wall to escape, and they don't have that. So we'll have to see
Yeah, there's a
how that one
pretty
works
good
out.
chance that we'll see an early game invade by exasperated here. It's
Mhm.
pretty easy to fight a Nunu early on, especially as Lee Sin, and especially when you don't have to worry about the flash over the wall.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it's going to be playing topside. I would love to see a similar play to, honestly, what L10 did yesterday, but this
Mhm.
time for exasperated on taking the double buffs as in the last case it was Kha'Zix, and then taking Gromp, and then
Mhm.
just invading the opposing red. There's a chance
Yeah.
that L10 will end up just starting red to try and prevent the invade by all means necessary,
Mhm.
but it's definitely going beyond exasperated to try shut down L10, especially when he's on a very different playstyle champion to what his team has been playing for this entire
Yeah.
tournament. He's been the carry for his team. He's been playing these big ego champions like the Kha'Zix, like the Kane. He wants to get ahead
Mhm.
and make his team win as fast as possible. But on the Nunu, he's trying to get the rest of his team to win the game, not himself. He's not the carry anymore. It's going to be more on the hands of who is this mid and trio to get this win for the team.
There's an old adage that it doesn't quite hold up anymore, but people used to say Nunu isn't about being useful; it's about making the other jungler even less useful than you are. Now, since the rework, that doesn't quite hold up as true as it used to, but it still stands. You just want to be. He still has the power to deny jungle camps, walk into the enemy jungle, hit up a camp a couple times, Q smite, you're out of there, go snowball somewhere else, and I think that's going to be the core of L10's gameplay. He's going to be looking to affect topside. Both the top laners have Ignite. That's going to be an extremely volatile lane. Going to be taking out with the snowball, invading with top laner with the jungler, or with the mid laner rather, and trying to form advantages from there. Help the solo lanes get ahead so they can move on into the later stages more comfortably. Hoping we'll be
And we
getting into
will be
game
heading into game
shortly.
very soon to see if these players end up clashing early on. Here we are, game one, the first game of the day and the only game of this best of one series to come out. Team 3 versus Team 1 looking to find their place in the finals, the grand finals coming next up. It looks like both these teams are ending up playing the start very safe and just going for a simple fan out to get all the vision necessary.
That's interesting move from Team 3 to send the Gwen up to the top lane, switch the Wukong into the mid. Not too sure how much I like that. Wukong gets a lot of value from his passive against AD champions. Not going to matter at all against Gragas. And in the top lane, Gwen does win that matchup early, but Gangplank can eventually scale up to do some things in that matchup. Sure, it's not great for a while, but if the Gwen gets behind it all, if you get ahead at all, it can be pretty dangerous sometimes. So we'll have to see how that one works out. I'm more concerned about the Wukong getting a little bit more punishment in the mid lane than they would ordinarily. But only time will tell how that works out.
I feel like this is one of the few instances where Team 3 doesn't invade with this comp. I think maybe a different AD carry, maybe you invade, but going into a Callista in an early game invade is real rough. They have a lot of burst. I have OBCD doing the Gwen special.
Yeah.
With Gwen at level 1, all you need to do is do a dash auto reset, and you can auto out any champion in the entire game other than Trundle. Talked about it yesterday, and we're seeing it again, the Ignite already used by both these top laners, and I don't think either player is going to die, but both are knocked extremely low. You're definitely going to have to be worried as I have OBCD, because if you walk up a little too close, A, you don't have flash, and B, Gangplank just has a Q to hit you from range. So it's going to be a reset for my OBCD. Does have the teleport though, and can oppress trio early on. Now in the mid lane though, L10's looking for a gank. Kind of hard to gank that Wukong, especially when the lane's pushed up so far. A lot of action very early on.
Yeah, I think L10 was just, they were pathing topside anyways, so thought, might as well throw a snowball down mid, see if anything sticks. Unfortunately for them, it did not. But as you can see, both junglers already on the top side of the map. Packrat getting a vision on the crab for their jungler, so L10 will know if Exasperated is going for any plays on that side. Just looking at the portraits on the top lane, OBCD still playing so aggressively. A stark contrast to what we're seeing here in the mid lane with Wolf just being mercilessly pushed in by Packrat's Gragas. Very unfortunate state of playing Wukong against this magic damage champion.
Definitely a fight going to happen in the top lane as well as mid. The Ignite coming out. First blood for Packrat. Now we change our focus to the other solo lane. Both the lanes have clashed. L10 very low on health, but he still has that, or he already used the exhaust. Try and make his life a little bit easier, but once again in the top side, it's going to be Exasperated looking for the kill. Can't quite get it. The bite and the heal from L10 to win that 1v1 with 1 health.
Yeah, that was really close from L10. I think Exasperated thought that the QQ would just straight up kill the Nunu there, since that champion is not very tanky early, but unfortunately for them, L10 able to sneak that heal in there, and OBCD is in some trouble as L10's coming back around.
OBCD wanted to play it aggressively, try to get the kill before the gank can come through. Isn't quite able to get the immunity from that snowball. Another kill over to the red team. Trio, the one picking up this time, getting some more strength in the other solo lane.
Yeah, and that's not where Team 3 wants to be. Giving the Gangplank any room to just calmly farm some of this wave is very bad for them. Bottom lane, though.
Yep, cross-map pressure is Exasperated, looking for a play on the other side of the map. K21 falling very low, but the Ren isn't able to come out to finish off K21. First kill already over to the blue team as a kill in the mid lane from a gank as well. Exasperated not quite landing the Sonic Wave, but a cross-map 1-for-1. Trio Cryo may be in a difficult place now as well. Ignite from IVOBCD used on Trio. Another dash to come out. Last snip of the scissors and a solo kill in the top lane for IVOBCD.
How did OBCD sneak up on Trio like that? He had the river warded. OBCD shouldn't have just walked up to the lane. I'm a bit confused. Very greedy for Trio to stay there and ultimately loses their life for it, pretty much throwing back the advantage that they got by punishing OBCD with the Nunu gank earlier. Just like that, OBCD's back to up in gold since there is that little farm discrepancy in the top lane. And as we saw on the bottom side, Martin ran to get a kill on the Ezreal, so sure, they're down a fair bit of CS this early into the game. That kill is going to do a decent amount to alleviate that, make it even. Unfortunately for Team 1 so far, 2 of the 4 kills are on the Nunu. That's really not where you would like them to be.
Yeah, I mean, both of them were from ganks. It wasn't like it was solo kill secured. Exasperated continues to try and knock it back, but it's a 2v2 in the mid lane. Oof, a little too far up. Does have the flash to get a little far away, but the explosive cast to finish off that monkey. Double kill to the fat man in the mid lane. Packrat securing his team 2 more. Up to a killing spree at this point.
I really disagree with this play. You see, Exasperated's level 4. Wolf still doesn't have the ultimate. Packrat does. They're just so much down in XP. This is such a hard play to go for. The explosive cast from Packrat was immaculately placed to take the Wukong out, throw Exasperated's Lee Sin back into the waiting snowball of L10, and that was just very clean 2 versus 2 on a play that Exasperated probably shouldn't have gone for in the first place. Now, Packrat is sitting at a very comfortable 3-0 scoreline on the Gragas, up 20 farm on their lane opponent, the Wukong. This is looking very, very good for Team 1 so far.
Very good so far, especially on that top side. Great play from Packrat, especially just in the 1v1, has been able to secure so much for the team. Uwoof is just struggling an immense amount to counter that Gragas in the mid as well, having Nunu come over and over again towards the mid lane, towards the top lane, be able to help defend his team and get his team some kills. Little sad puppy from L10, but does still have his Krug. Trio Cryo, though, in the top lane does get a solo kill. Exasperated trying to finish him off, but is still only level 5. There's no kick on this Lee Sin, but there is a Sheen on the Gangplank. Double kill over to Trio Cryo.
Yeah, they just... Oh, no. It's falling apart for Team 3. It was looking... You know, they were holding on, but we get to see this 1 versus 1. How did it happen? The barrel not connecting, and I think OBCD is just like, all right, they're fine, just farming it out. Tries to trade aggressively, missing the R's is pretty much a death sentence, especially with that ignite from the Gangplank. You don't get the healing that you expect on the Gwen, and that was just a clean 1v1 play from Trio. Exasperated trying to clean it up, but don't have the Dragon's Rage. That means you don't have any damage whatsoever this early into the game, especially when you have no items. And 2 more kills over the Gangplank is a terrible place to be.
One more auto attack, K21, not quite finding the kill in the bot lane. At least there's some pressure secured over Martin Ren and K21. Trying to push up their advantage. Not really anywhere because they're about even in gold. 1 kill up, but the rest of their team is struggling so much it doesn't really matter. And there's so much farm on who is this mid above the Ezreal. They've been out pressured in lane. It's just looking dire across the entire map. Sure, well, oh my god. Packrat
dire across the map, indeed.
Yep,
especially dire in the mid lane.
Especially dire in the mid lane. 0-4 on the Wukong. Uwoof is having so many issues. I have OBCD also having some issues. Trying to win this 1v1 is just coming ahead in damage, but L10 is here to help secure the gank, help secure the kill. Gets the kill himself. Another one for L10 ganking up in the top lane.
And they're going to drop the Herald as well. Maybe able to get that tower. As it's got 4 plates on it. I'm sure they can knock down the requisite 2 to get that one. And Packrat in the mid lane is just asserting their will. I look back at this play. Teleport from OBCD into 2?
Into 2. Does start off trying out. This might be an earlier play. K21 also up here lands the hook. Exasperated secures the kill onto L10. They're just looking to secure another one. We missed this earlier on, but K21 not quite finding the damage onto the Gangplank. Ends up losing his life as well. Just a confusing skirmish in the top side.
I mean, it was a very good amount of gold given back over to Team 3. Like you said, pretty confusing skirmish. Those a lot of members committed up to the top lane. Good on K21 to get up there. And we have lots of dead members as we come back from the replay. The Leona gone. Martin Ren's Ezreal is also taken out. Missed how that happened, but there is a kill on who is this mid, so play in the bottom lane of some sort? Question mark?
I mean, Martin Ren's got his 2nd kill. Ezreal needs to get those kills, needs to get that gold to start his scaling game, start to get a little bit tankier, be able to win. But he's just got so much to worry about, especially I have OBCD has something to worry about top lane. L10 going for another gank. I think OBCD saved the dash, tries to get his immunity under turret, but Trio Cryo with the Ignite. You're not going to survive that easily. Just going to finish off the turret himself, and L10 being the hero, but not quite the hero for his Gangplank. Just tried to tank the turret and finish it off. Doesn't get it, and ends up being a 1-for-1 trade top.
Why did he not just reset the turret aggro onto the minions? That was so greedy by Trio. They could have gotten out. They took like 2 or 3 turret shots under them before they died. Giving a shutdown over to the Gwen might not mean a whole lot. That was a very unfortunate Q from Exasperated could have led to a lot on Packrat's Gragas, but the play dies in the water right there as we pan to the bottom lane and Misaki Sayuri going down. Oh, not quite.
Very close to going down, but not quite. Gangplank ultimate is here to dissuade the potential dive. They see L10 on the side, and the dragon is pinged. There's 4 members in the bot side for Team 1. They have the pressure advantage, and Packrat can rotate first. No TP on I have OBCD, so there's going to be no rotate down from the top laner at any good length of time. See the lack of vision from the red team, seeing where blue is currently positioned. Team 3 has to find their way in here. I have OBCD had enough time to rotate down, but there was also a reset from Team 1's bot lane. Going to be able to secure this dragon, not enough time. Lee Sin goes over the wall, hops right back over thanks to the W. In the end, second dragon secured for Team 1. Mountain Drake this time, definitely going to be very good for their beat ball composition.
And the Infernal Soul on the Rift is... Man, I want to see Packrat's Gragas with Infernal Soul. You see how much damage that champion is already putting out? Give it to me. Give me like a 12 more minutes in this game. Let me get that Infernal Soul. Let me see a QR one-shot somebody on Team 3. That would be spectacular. As of right now, no more objectives left up on the map. They're going... The only real one, that mid lane outer turret. Exasperated found himself in a bit of a pickle, though.
Yep, didn't quite land the Sonic Wave. 2 team members were fairly close. There's a chance if he landed that Q, he would have continued on to it. Trio Cryo now hooked up. It's going to get the Sonic Wave landed onto him, but he's very tanky, has a ton of damage. Ari finds the kill thanks to his Flame auto attack. Packrat as well on the other side finding a kill of his own. Despite a good start for Team 3, it still ends up going in favor of Team 1.
Yeah, I know. I guess I see what K21 was going for. They got the pick onto Trio. Trio didn't use the orange. Didn't think they were in any trouble because Exasperated does not really do much damage. 0-4 on the Lee Sin. Finished the Gore Drinker on that recall or that death, I believe. So as you're not really in any trouble if you get hooked and the Lee Sin is the only person there to follow up. Maybe in trouble though, as OBCD does do more damage.
It misses all of the ult charges though. This could still swing, but Q's going to land from I have OBCD. Nice solo kill. Find his way a little bit back more into this lane. Wasn't a damage answer, but 4-4 on this Gwen. It's working out to a degree. Not a high degree, but a degree. Down the mid lane, Uwu is going to have to worry about L10. Might be able to get over the wall, not quite. Ari used the flash, and Packrat's going to pick up another as Exasperated tries to continue the play. See Packrat, flash hook is not going to land. Neither is the E from K21. Exasperated trying to finish off Packrat, not quite finding the damage. Has one more Sonic Wave in a second, is able to get the 500 gold shut down. Just going to get away with that safeguard onto a minion. There is a snowball chasing him down on the other side. Martin Ren, as well as K21, try and win their own fight. Not going to work out in the mid lane, but the continued 1v1 or the 2v2 in the mid lane behind the turret. This is not where you want to be as the bot lane for Team 1. A double kill secured for the most important member to get it. Martin Ren soaring up in his gold value.
Yeah, they traded a kill on the Thresh for like 4 kills onto Team 1. This fight was all over the place. You start off with a 2v2 jungler and mid, jungler and support. Exasperated with picking up that 500 gold is pretty large as a nice stimulus package to try and come back in it. And this is just some incredibly hard tunnel vision from who is this mid. Diving between the mid lane tier 1 and tier 2 to get the kill on K21. OBCD has come back from the base by this point, cleans up the kills. Martin Ren and Exasperated live on that sliver, and that is how comebacks happen. If you do that too many times, you tunnel vision on these kills, you try and say, oh, we're so far ahead, I can play however I want. The other team will take those advantages. They will be able to run it back. Martin Ren is 4-1. They're not out of this game by any stretch of imagination. However, Team 1, as I say that, is still 6,000 gold in the lead. They have to be smart with it, though. They keep making plays like that, that gold lead is going to shrink faster than you can imagine. But
so much attention
this next
has been
dragon
in the mid
comes
lane
up,
this game. Yeah, I was going to say something a little bit more colorful, but Exasperate wants to make the colorful play as the explosive cast is going to knock 2 members of Team 3 back into the grasp of the Team 1 onslaught. There goes the Ezreal, the most important, the most damaging member of the team, as I have OBCD and Uwoof try to clean up this fight. Who is this mid is joining in now as I have OBCD doesn't have any left to answer for. 1 kill onto the Gragas, but 2 left standing on Team 1, and they're going to take this team fight victory. 3 for 5, and the Infernal Drake to get them soul points on Team 1.
Yeah, that will put them on to Soul 0.8. A valiant effort from Team 3. They did pick up 3 kills of their own in exchange for however many they gave over to Team 1. But Team 1 has so much money in their pockets. You can see how this started. It started with a fantastic pick onto Misaki Sayuri, but Packrat's Gragas is so absurdly far ahead. One shots pretty much 2 people at the same time. I have OBCD doing their best to salvage what they can in this fight. End up, getting something back in return for their troubles. Get a kill on the Packrat. Make it as even as they possibly can, but it is just a struggle to do anything when you are down this much gold. L10, 6-1. They built a Sunfire Cape, not the tankiest item, but that is still a very, very beefy Nunu. Mid lane and top lane, just their AoE damage is insurmountable so far for Team 1. Team 1, their shining stars are OBCD and Martin Ren, but OBCD may be blinking out here in the top lane.
A bit of a pickle, but still has leftover ult charges. Can't have that much damage. There's the ultimate from the Ezreal. It was closer than we were expecting, but still the kill over to Trio Cryo, dodging out on the Sonic Wave, but now K21 has joined the skirmish, not quite landing the hook in the mid lane as well. Packrat finding his own kill, or that was on the bot lane. Exasperate looking to close out this play, get a kill back onto Trio Cryo. Cross map 2 for 1, but K21 and Exasperate are still in a tough place. No turret to walk back to, and 2 members closing in from the mid lane. Try to close the gap. It's rough for 21. I think this is going to be a Thresh falling over. Does have the exhaust. Solar Flare lands onto Exasperate, but now they're grouped up together. There's the Callista ultimate. 2-man knock-up landing. There's the Ren number 1. There's the Ren number 2. Who is this mid finding both the kills? Now it's on to IVOBC to clean up once again. Doesn't have the ulti. Doesn't need it, though. Misaki Sayuri falling over. I have OBCD answering back. But still, so good for Team 1, finding multiple kills over that of Team 3 in the skirmish.
Yeah, this game is just Team 3 trying to pick up the scraps of any sloppy plays that Team 1 may make. Everything that Team 1 is doing is netting them an advantage in kills, be it 2 or 3. Hold that thought. OBCD shut down onto L10.
My. So much damage on this Gwen. Just dodging out on the barrel as well is going to burn down thanks to the passive of Gangplank, but getting the 2 for 1 in a 2v1 is so incredibly important. Now the rest of Team 3 can look to clean up the rest of the opposing team. The Immortal Shield Bow not quite saving the life. Excellent double knockup from Uwoof, knocked back into the opposing team's turret, but Packrat's falling low and the hook lands onto Misaki Suri. It's another kill over to Team 3. Only 1 member left standing from Team 1, and the Baron is up. I don't know why you're rotating bot lane. What are you doing, Team 3? Go Baron, please.
I think they just didn't want to chance it with L10 up, but yeah, rotating to the Baron, definitely something they just need to go for. They need something. They got a lot of kills right there. It was 4 for 1, I believe, is the final kill tally. And you're this far down in gold. You're not gonna get back by just getting those kills and doing nothing. You have to do something with it. The Baron is still alive. They will not have that buff or that extra influx of gold to try and do anything, but the influx of gold that they got from that team fight is non-zero. They did get a lot of it, especially onto OBCD, and that is where they need to have it. Martin Ren has finally, at 22 minutes, finished the Muramana. That is a massive spike in this Ezreal's power for this upcoming fight. Team 3 needs to contest. They're getting their waves pushed out, trying to set up as best they can, but Team 1 has the inside track, and they're looking at mid.
Exasperated, that is the smite, that is what would be able to steal out this dragon. There is a flash on Exasperated, but he's locked up for so long. Just able to get it off, get over the wall, but you can see the rest of Team 3 is closing in, trying to be able to fight this back. Trio Cryo is now in a very bad place. They can definitely make a flank play with this. Hook lands onto one member, isn't a priority target. And the flank is just going to be canceled out. They just want to get away with the Exasperated life. Try to get something onto the AD carry. Lots of damage landing, but kiting back as good as this mid. Lots of damage, more damage landing from the Gwen ulti. Now it's a mosh pit inside L10's ultimate, and all the kills are going over to Team 1. IVOBCD secures 2 and isn't quite able to live a little bit longer. Martin Ren falling as well thanks to Packrat's power, and an ace secured for Team 1.
It looked so good at the beginning. It looked like Team 3 had found the pick onto who is this mid, and in a split second, if you blinked, the fight changed entirely as the top side of the map and the jungler from Team 1 showed up. As you said, an absolute mosh pit inside the Nunu ultimate is not where Team 3 wanted to be. Looking at the replay, you see the Wukong diving in the backline. That is fantastic. So Solar Flare comes out, L10 gets in, and just traps everyone inside the Nunu ultimate. OBCD avoided the damage, but that Zanya's meant they were stuck there, dealing with a 2v1 that they could not fight, and a 5-4-2 with the Dragon Soul picked up by Team 1. Means they're going to be able to brute force whatever they want that much more effectively than before.
This is a dire situation for Team 3 at this point. It was already looking bad before, but so much fight pressure has been won over thanks to that Infernal Soul. With the Baron being the next major objective, they can just look to take it. They just got the damage that they needed on top of the damage that they needed. They got even more damage that they could have needed. And having that extra on the beef ball composition, it's just going to make you work kind of like a full damage composition as well. Infernal Drake does so much to help out the team. There is a teleport on IVOBCD pushing the bot lane. They're going to sacrifice their inhibitor, but if he doesn't rotate, this could be the game in a losing fight scenario. Inhibitor falls in the mid lane. IVOBCD still pushing up. Got 9 members of this game inside the base right now. But the backs are going to happen. Pings are out. Starting to be a little bit of a base race as Exasperated is just trying to cancel out backs, taking a bunch of damage as a return for it, kicking away Packrat. He gets away with his life. But it's still just a delay. They're just trying to buy time for the blue team. And here's finally the retreat by Team 1, after 2 turns were taken.
Backing off, but they are backing towards the Baron. Says, who cares about the Gwen? They can take this Baron, they can just force their way. I assume that Cannon Barrage is going to the bottom lane, try and stop this push, but it doesn't matter. OBCD has got the turret, got the inhibitor. Team 1 has the Baron.
They got the back though. So Gwen is freely pushing right now. There's going to be no PP to help out, and Packrat's going to fall right here. He might get a kill back because Exasperated falls very low. If this fight goes even worse than it already is going, this could just be the game. The TP is in here from IVOBCD. I think the case is where you just want to try to finish off the game, but every single member other than the Ezra. Oh, I guess we've survived too. But pretty much all the important members of Team 3 have already fallen. With 4 people strong pushing into the base, this could just be game for team number 1.
Yeah, it looked like they had the game plan of, all right, just stall for OVCD. They have the inhibitor turret. They have the wave. They could just look at the Nexus. But instead, they take the fight. OVCD opts to teleport in. And like you said, every important member on Team 3 deleted from Summoner's Rift. And Team 1 takes that all the way to the bank. We're back to live. They're on the Nexus turrets. Team 3 in their death throes, trying to hold on. But it's
There's not much left to hold at this point. The last turret falling, the hook not landing. AD carry and trio cryo are up. Team 1 is looking to get themselves into the finals. Team 3 looking for a last kill, but can't quite get it. This is Team 1 going back to have revenge against Team 8 in the grand finals.
Yeah, they have won the losers finals best of 1, and like you said, going to be going for the winners finals rematch in our grand finals match next up. As a reminder for the structure of the tournament, as Team 8 is in the winner's side of grand finals, they will be starting out our best of 3 up 1-0, meaning that they only have to take 1 game off of Team 1 to be the victors of our tournament here today.
Yeah, but only 1 game for Team 8 stands between them and the prize pool. They're looking to close out this tournament strong and don't have much left to go for, but Team 1 looked pretty darn strong in that game, and given yesterday's series, it could still go either way. Team 1 needs to pull out 2 games in a row. It was a very, very close 2-1 best of 3 in the winners finals yesterday. On top of that, Team 1 was in the lead for the start of that game. They were doing quite well to get the advantage in the start of yesterday's winners finals. But they still have a lot to answer back, with Team 8 being a fortress, staying between opposing Team 1 in a victory, getting the prize pool. Spartan 87 was definitely showrunner yesterday, and it's going to be hard for Team 1 to go from this win that took them a lot longer than it possibly should have, be able to take out the team that beat them.
It's also so much pressure to have to try and win those 2 more games in a row before, or in order to upset Team 8. So Team 1, we'll see if they can surmount that after our
There's not more
a break
left. I believe we're going to be going to a break very soon before we head into the grand finals. Had an excellent show here so far. Team 3 putting up a fight despite having a huge disadvantage, and they shouldn't be going home without feeling at least somewhat good that they were able to get their way a little bit back into the game. Sure, it was off a bit of a throw in the mid lane, but Team 3, you still showed up. You still made your way all the way through the losers bracket to get your way towards the second to last series of the tournament. So good job on that end. But with that note, we're going to take it to a break very shortly before we head into the grand finals between Team 1 and Team 8. Repeat of yesterday. See you in a bit.
feelings. It's like I can't walk on the ceiling. Oh yeah, got me dreaming, dreaming in colors I never dreamed. Oh yeah, I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell in love with my broken pieces, took 'em all and made 'em yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh. Magic. No, I'm never letting go. Now that I have it with you. When you kiss me, it's like the stars fall out the sky onto my heart to cover up what I don't wanna show. I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell in love with my broken pieces, took 'em all and made 'em yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, yeah, you take me higher, baby.
Getting hype when I aim up, elevating that game up, stepping up to the competition. Only first place, and that's how I'm living. I'm winning till they digging up my grave, eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up into place. I was born and when I watched me elevate. I was born and when I watched me elevate.
Hello, everybody. We are back with the POG X AVGL Summer Meltdown here for the grand finals. These teams are competing for the $500 prize pool, trying to get first place in this best of three. It's going to be back to the winners finals yesterday, honestly, as we head straight into champion select between Team 1 and Free Dusty, aka Team 8.
Hashtag free Dusty. Yeah, teammate. They've fallen pretty far since their departure from the LCS in 2015. So it's a real shame. They're now competing in our solo queue tournaments, man. No, but
Yeah.
in all seriousness,
A long
they
way
are
down.
yeah, they are the winner's side representatives in the grand finals, which is why they have that one in their score column. They only need to win this game to be the winners of our tournament. And the picks are coming out real quick already. Dusty on the set, Kha'Zix Silas for Free Dusty, and Wukong Shavana Viego for Team 1.
That's significantly different, but we can finally see the Pack Rat Viego after so
We
long
can.
of talking about it for like a game or two when it gets banned or when Pack Rat is forced to go AD carry instead of mid. finally gets to pull out the Viego. I've been wanting to see it this whole tournament because I feel like it's a fun champion to cast. I've never had the opportunity to cast it before because it's always banned. But finally, we got to see it. Going into some other picks, though, we've got the other champion who steals champion things, Silas for Spartan 87. One of the big carries of Team Free Dusty. As well, we can finally see the bot lane as well for both these teams as the champion select has gone through. What are your thoughts on how Kog'Maw Lulu is going to shake up in the current day and age?
I think Kog'Maw Lulu is an incredibly strong pairing at the moment. I think Kog'Maw in his own right is fairly strong AD carry, but obviously requires that extra support. Lulu in this game makes a ton of sense. You have the Kha'Zix and Silas that want to be all over this Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw desperately needs that peel, and Lulu is the best champion to do it with. The one slight issue that I might take is that the rest of their comp is entirely divers. They have Wukong, Shyvana, and Viego that are all going to be wanting to jump at the team of Free Dusty, and that's not necessarily conducive to the Lulu Kog'Maw win condition. So we'll have to see how that one shakes out. They can definitely make it work. Lulu can be enough peel for the Kog'Maw if Kog'Maw has enough strength to fight off these divers from Free Dusty, but obviously there is that caveat that Kog'Maw has to be at least a little bit strong for that to happen. On the side of Free Dusty, you can see exactly what they're going for. They have a lot of dive, they have a lot of crowd control, they have a lot of engage. Set, Nautilus, Silas, Varus has the tendril of corruption. Is that it?
I think so.
I don't remember.
Something like that.
Corrupted something. His R, you know what it is. That They have all this crowd control to work with. They have the Kha'Zix that hopefully try and assassinate the Kog'Maw, although, let's face it, Kog'Maw's never going to be isolated. Ever. If Team 1 plays this properly. So, we'll have to see how that works. Chain of Corruption, that's it.
Yeah.
It's close enough. Tendril.
I went into the League of Legends client, went over to collections and looked at Varus. For the first time ever, I used that abilities tab to remind myself the name. Chain of Corruption
there's an abilities tab?
I'm honestly,
there isn't it.
I'm genuinely interested as to which build Refugee from Mid is going to opt into on the Varus, because he has very differing options, especially on Varus himself. There are a lot of frontline champions that build somewhat tanky for him to go with the more attack speed, on-hit oriented build, or even AP if he wants to go that for the big percent max health procs. Or he could go Poke, which is pretty good into characters like the Kog'Maw Lulu. Just get him low on health before he can even auto-attack anybody from way out of his auto range. I think that's the best move to go for in laning phase, but I don't think it will work out as the game goes on. So it comes down to probably how Refugee from Mid really wants to shake up this game and how he feels comfortable playing his champion. Could go either way, and I guess crit is also an option, but hasn't been played quite as much on Varus in the past, I don't know, 5 years.
Yeah, there's those three options really. You have the lethality, which lethality with a Serpent's Fang for the Varus can be pretty good into the Kog'Maw Lulu, but like you said, it probably won't scale super well into this game, as the Varus will be having more interactions with the Wukong, the Shyvana, and the Viego. Poke Varus needs to sit back pretty far to be effective, and those champions don't really like to let them do that. One build that I've seen it a few times. It's kind of a hybrid between like the poke style and AP. Just kind of go Muramana into straight AP, and it does a surprising amount of damage. Can be good for shredding through champions like the Wukong. If the Shyvana opts for a more AD route, that'll be very susceptible to a build like that. And as well, the third option is always just the standard on hit, which does a similar thing, but it shreds the tanks, but in a different way, just by having a lot of autos that you are going to be able to put down. And may have some issues with that, as like I said, Wukong Viego, they're going to be all over him. Honestly, I don't think there's a particular build that stands out as this is the one. Refugee from mid definitely have those options there as to what they're going to choose.
Going into the rest of the matchups, though, I am not sure how a lot of these lanes work out, and I'm not sure exactly if there was any thought beyond comfort in the Kazakhs pick. Sure, you can one tap either Lulu or Kog'Maw if they're ever alone, but Viego, you got Shyvana, Wukong, they're all very good into something like a Kazakhs because you can't one shot them ever, and they still put out a ton of damage, especially over time as the fights go on. Viego, percent max health, he can melt through tanks, he can melt through squishies, especially with the build that's been going all over place in both competitive play and solo queue, the Divine Sunder into the Blade of the Ruin King. You just hit with so much percent health damage on that first auto attack that pretty much any squishy is going to be like, I need to flash away from this, even though you're not going to follow up with any damage quite yet. It hurts a lot, and I think that'll be very strong into something like the Kazakhs, because he can't really one-shot any tanks, and I'm not exactly sure if the Kazakhs would be the right pick here. I would want to see something with more utility, something to actually set up his team a little bit more. He's got a big carry in Spartan 87 in the mid lane, and as well, setting up the AD carry as well could definitely help out his team quite a lot. And you probably won't be playing topside all that much, although their new team name might suggest that they're playing completely for topside. They want to free Dusty from this game, and we're going to see if they can free themselves from this tournament, get themselves the win, get themselves the prize pool, secure victory versus Team 1 in the grand finals as we start off game number 1, sort of game number 2.
I like that segue. That was very nice. But yeah, as you said, game 2 question mark of the best of 3 that we have here. 5-man fan out, nothing spicy. Come on, Flappy Bits. Give me an invade. You're playing Nautilus. I want to see it. I haven't seen it before.
There's a split second where the monkey was seen. Hey,
do the sit-ups. Give me the sit-ups, Dusty. Do it. Yeah.
Dusty. Yeah, free yourself from the weakling status. Get those abs crunching. Become the strong man. And there we see Spartan 87 throwing his chains all over the place. They're all just working out on this. Okay, Flappy. You're not doing anything.
Everyone talks about the 200 years of the game design meme. The real power creep in League of Legends is in the spams. You notice Riot hasn't released a champion in the last few years that hasn't had at least one good spam. This is an injustice to the old champions. Give me better spams.
I mean, they still haven't surpassed Nami's haha yeah. That one will forever be the best spam in the entire game. But, you know, they have been doing a pretty good job, and Set definitely up there, although just leaving that emote to go on itself is just as good.
Yeah. Leaving the setups going is just like the slow-mo version. You spam it, you get the rapid fire setups.
Yeah, trying to do as many in a short amount of time as possible versus, you know, just going for a casual workout, becoming stronger in the mid-region of your body. You know, getting that ready. I mean, he's going up against a monkey. Monkeys are pretty strong.
Monkeys are very strong. I can't say I would ever want to fight a monkey. Oh my goodness, Flappy Bits.
Oh, the flash is in though. Who is this mid falling already? No monkey down bot. No strong monkey to fight off this Varus. His first blood is secured from Refugee from mid. All these AD carry names are going to get confusing.
Yeah. Pack right, doesn't have the W.
Spartan looking to set it up. He's going to use his chains quite yet. They're reading that there's a potential for Shyvana to be bot side, but Insta Arturo is just playing his damage quite well, making sure to get as much off as he can. A trade of flashes ends up being, the end-all be-all for that fight in the mid lane, but there's no teleport on Packrat. He's going to lose out on a good bit of farm, especially from where the wave is positioned, and all in all, still works out for Free Dusty mid lane.
Yeah, although it gives Spartan 87 some time to recoup a bit of that deficit. He had, what, like 5 CS before that? Had nothing at all in the bottom lane. They're looking for Misaki.
They've got the jump onto Misaki Sayuri. The flash is out, but already look, Refugee from mid has to run away from who is this mid. The mid laners in the bot lane are definitely pulling out the damage, but who is this mid is coming out with the lead in this instance. Just a 1-for-0. Answering back from the first skirmish of the game. Surprisingly, even though they didn't have the jump, still come out with the win in that fight.
Yeah, Refugee from mid shanked the piercing arrow pretty wide to the right. As such, Misaki Sayuri getting out of that one. Packrat might not be getting out of this one, though.
He has the distance. I don't think Spartan had the chains to connect quite yet. That time, he had the chains connect with the minion that was far behind him. Thank you, Riot Hitboxes, for that play. But still, Packrat, Viego has a good amount of starting health. So even if you get onto him as this Kha'Zix and Spartan, he still has a good amount of tankiness just innately to get himself out. He also has a good amount of mobility as well. So I don't think we're going to be seeing many kills happen mid lane, at least onto Packrat. Sure, they might try to make the plays, but all they're going to get is zoning him from CS. And even then, even though he was forced to back, he still has a CS advantage by over a full wave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, across the board, Team 1 is up in the CS department, save for the AD carry position. So that is the sole reason they are up this 400 gold, even though the kill score is tied. Oh, another hook on the Sayuri.
Yeah, these bot lanes are just going to be punting shells into each other over time. It's a war of attrition at this point. So they both have to trade off a bit of summer spells. Ignite from Flappy, as well as the cleanse from Who Is This Mid. Don't think it was going to kill him, but there's a chance that this teleport might. Trio Cryo gets the invisibility, gets the distance closed, has level 6, knocks up Insta as well as getting the kill onto Refugee from mid, but now he's alone without mana. Does have the flash, but no place to go with it. Going to save it as Insta picks up the kill to answer back. Red team might just turn over to the Baron. Not the Baron, the Dragon as a neutral objective for the crimes in the bot lane.
Eyes are on the Ocean Dragon. L10 not going to try and contest whatsoever. Just going to look for any camps that may be up on the top side. This one going to be costing Free Dusty nothing but a little bit of time. Good for Insta to get that kill onto the Wukong in return. Because, like we were saying earlier, this Kha'Zix pick really needs to be getting ahead if it's going to do anything later on. As we see how this play happened, it looked really good. That trade for summoners after the play kind of confused me, as it didn't seem like the Ignite was going to kill. Cleanse, maybe not quite necessary, but Trio with a fantastic teleport onto the ward right before it expired gives himself a kill onto the AD carry of Free Dusty. But Free Dusty, quick to pull the trigger in return. Dusty Donuts teleporting down to match. Insta getting the kill. All for all, 1 for 1, an even trade for summoners, and +1 dragon to Free Dusty.
Honestly, I wouldn't say worth for Trio Cryo there. Sure, he got the kill, but he then ended up giving over the dragon pressure. Dusty Donuts got the teleport down as well, so he was there to go for the dragon, and they didn't really need the AD carry at that point, especially at this point in the game. Though AD carry is definitely going to be putting the work in this skirmish in the bot lane. Who is this mid finding a bunch of damage, but L10 is here to try to finish it off with the Flame Breath. So much damage with the Hex Tech Alternator. Looking to finish it off. One more Flame Breath finish it with Spartan 87. Teleports down, has damage onto L10, who is this mid, finishes off the first kill, doesn't quite get the distance on the second one, is able to finish it off. Also an execute, so it's not even a trade kill. Spartan 87 did get one, I believe. No, he didn't actually get one. It was 1 for 0, unless Packrat finds another. Make it even more kills. Not quite. Very little health on Spartan 87, but still a winning fight over Team 1.
Yeah, they pick up 2 for themselves, lose none in return. We take that every day of the week. Honestly, when L10 jumped in, I thought, oh, you know, it's early game Shyvana. They're not going to do a whole lot of damage. That Hextech Alternator Flame Breath just decimated Refugee from mid's health bar. Took out like 60% of it, that one ability. And that was all she wrote from there. So unfortunate that Who Is This Mid got the execute. Refugee would have loved to have that extra money in their back pocket. I guess assumed that somebody somewhere had hit the Kog'Maw before it died, but no. As a result, 2 for 0 in the gold is Team 1.
It was a lot of gold going over Who Is This Mid too. He has 3 kills under his belt. He's got about even CS in lane, and very soon we're going to start seeing him scale with likely either Kraken Slayer, maybe a Gale Force if he wants to dodge out on some hooks, as well as the Chain of Corruption. Most likely Kraken Slayer though. Fight in the mid lane, Spartan 87 trying to get a positive trade, but both the junglers are here to try to make it a 1-for-1 potentially. L10 has to play inside the minions, not isolate himself. The heal from the W of Spartan 87, as well as so much damage, is going to net him a second kill as well. 2 for 0 trade in the mid lane. Spartan 87 put it into work.
That's exactly what they needed to fire back from that bottom lane play. Things go awry in one half of the map. That's all right. Wait a few minutes. Make them right on the other side. Very crucial for Insta and Spartan to be getting those kills if they want to pose any threat to this Kog'Maw later on in the game. If you look at the map, especially in the top lane, unfortunately, that set is not going to be doing a whole lot. It's not going to have any money for items. It's down 30 CS. Misaki is getting hooked once again, but nothing to come of it quite yet.
They can definitely fight this Team 1 to try and find the kills. Sure, these ultimates are going on to Who's This Mid, but look at who's coming from the river. It's going to be L10. It's going to be Packrat. First kill already over to Packrat, looking for his second. There's the double kill secured. Dragon's almost up as well. They might look for the turret on top of it. And so much secured here for Team 1. Looking to get themselves a hefty gold lead off of that play.
The funny thing is, I think that was an even gold trade. I'm pretty sure I saw a plus 600 when Refugee killed Who Is This Mid. So if that was the case, that's honestly pretty funny. But like you said, they do get control of the dragon in return. Spartan 87 got some money from the mid lane plates. Insta gonna snip this one out and maybe go for something.
Already did the jump. L10 does have a lot of damage on that flame breath, but bot lane has already fallen over. L10 doesn't have flash to get over the wall. Nobody else can really come to help. Spartan 87 already on Packrat has the Viego ultimate, as well as Packrat using his Viego ultimate. Everybody trying to gap close. On the other side, Insta also found a kill onto the AD carry of Team 1. Packrat falling, but is going to trade back on a Spartan 87. Mid laner for mid laner. But Free Dusty finds an answer towards what happened to the bot lane. Now back in the gold lead.
Yeah, they back in the driver's seat. Insta gonna equalize this wave. Spartan has the teleport. We'll be able to get to that immediately. And things are starting to look up for Free Dusty. Insta 4-0 on the Kazakhs is going to be absolutely terrifying for the bottom lane, particularly Who Is This Mid. Once he starts paying a little bit more attention, that could be dangerous. But speaking of paying attention to bottom lane, Trio is here.
Look at the teleports though. Double teleport coming in the bot side by the mid laner and Spartan 87, or mid laner and top laner. Solo lanes join the fight. Trio Cryo has already found the kill into Dusty. They have to get on out of this. Pack Rat has joined the fight though. The Reset City is coming in. Monkey finds the first kill. Bug swatted down by the Pull. Now it's on to the next one. Flappy Bites falling. Pack Rat's on to being the toilet man himself, but the other Bug on the side of Team 1 has found the kills, found the ace, and Team 1 secures all the kills in the bot lane without losing a single member.
Right as I was praising Free Dusty for pulling themselves back into it, this happens. You can see they had the double teleports. Free Dusty's a little bit slow on it, but Spartan immediately runs over to try and fight L10. And look at this fight. It's so scattered from Free Dusty. Spartan was doing their own thing for a little bit. Insta jumps into the waiting arms of Team 1 without any real support. Spartan again trying to make something happen, tunneling so hard onto that low HP Shyvana. And it just looked like the communication in that fight was not there. The coordination from Free Dusty was not where it needed to be. And 5-for-0 coming out. Accurate?
So
my
close.
goodness.
L10 trying to block if another was to come out. In the end, Team 1 do get away with their lives, just barely. Although I'm not sure if Pack Rat's entirely out of there. He walks right into Flappy and has to walk back again. Does have the distance this time, though.
Yeah, not quite out of the woods, but that should mean a mid lane turret going down as both the mid and jungle had to recall. Bottom lane rotating up. They're gonna go for it. Yeah, they're gonna smack it a few times. That one should be pretty free in the pockets of Refugee from mid. They'll be happy to get that gold influx. And we're starting to see the mythics come out from both teams. Divine Sunder, as we'd expect from the Wukong and Viego. Gale Force finished by Who Is This Mid to try and get away from Spartan and Insta. I definitely agree with that purchase.
Yeah.
For Free Dusty, Prowler's Claw on the Varus is something that it's been a little bit of a debate, right? Of the mythic that Lethality Varus likes to go now. Since this patch, Prowler's Claw did have the ability to dash through minions removed. It's not quite as safe, or it doesn't have that playmaking utility that Varus would have liked to have. However, the mythic passive still does give a lot of extra lethality, and apparently that lethality doesn't matter. He's getting 2v1 by Who Is This Mid and Misaki in the mid lane.
That's going to open up some opportunities for Team 1 to look for this Rift-Trailed top side. They don't have to worry about pressure in the mid lane. Mid lane hour turret's already fallen. Pack Rat's in the bot lane to answer a push down there. Spartan 87 has to rotate back up because there's no damage threat to hold mid lane. Trio's got the push in the top lane, so all but open for the play onto the Rift-Trailed. Secured over for L10. Now it's a choice of where they want to use it. Fight in the top side though. Dusty trying to get the kill back. Doesn't quite have the damage himself, but the turret does, and Free Dusty frees himself from a negative KDA. 1-1 on his scoreboard now. Gets the solo kill onto Trio Cryo.
Yeah, that was very, very greedy from Trio, and a very welcome kill to Dusty. As down 40 CS, you need any bit of gold you can get. Now, Free Dusty, 4 members on the Dragon. Dusty cannot join, but Pack Rat's in the pit.
That was so ambitious there from the Viego. Dragon is secured over to Free Dusty. That's starting to stack up towards the Dragon Soul. Dusty as well finds himself a turret in the top side of the map. So cross map wins here for Team 3 or Team 8. I mean, Free Dusty getting themselves both a neutral objective and just a solo objective in the top side. Might push up their gold a little bit, try get it out even. In terms of just the stats from the Dragons, it might be about even in terms of gold, but it's being such a difficult game for some of these players on Free Dusty. Dusty himself has been having a tough time, only getting his kill due to a misplay there from Trio Cryo, as well. Bot side of the map, Refugee from mid, and Flappy having so many issues dealing with the pressure from Who Is This Mid. Now, Team 1 is playing with the Rift-Trailed, trying to get this mid lane turret, break open the map a little bit more. This will take down mid lane. just a bit more damage, and Spartan is trying to get onto the AD carry. Steals the Lulu ultimate to make himself a little bit more tanky. Turret's just going to fall, and without L10's ultimate, I don't think they're going to take a fight mid.
Yeah, there wasn't really a whole lot that I think Free Dusty could do there. Pac-Man going in pretty aggressively. The Chains of Corruption crucially whiffing, though.
Pac-Rat has a bunch of damage. Refugee from mid is playing very far up. He does have a lot down onto Pac-Rat, but now that the team has joined, Team 1 is looking to be able to turn on to a fight if Refugee from mid extends any more. This is really far up from who is this mid. Spartan 87 going in, trying to get the lockdown, isn't quite able to get it. Only with the Lulu ultimate is able to. Misaki Sayuri ulting the wrong person. It's just going to be 3 resets. Springboard action for Insta Arturo, and the rest of Team 1 is wiped off the face of the map. Just the monkey remaining in a big swing for Free Dusty.
Yeah, that was catastrophic. We get the replay. You see, like, Pac-Rat very nearly gets the kill on that Flappy Bits. If this Chain of Corruption had landed, that might have been a pick back on the Pac-Rat, but the team from Team 1 came collapsed, and we had the fight. Now we have a frozen screen. Looks like something is happening.
Yeah, something is happening. Wukong swats down the bug again as Flappy just gets out of there. He is able to get 1 kill for his efforts. He is able to delay the mid push a little bit, but this turret's still going to fall. Still going to be the ace for a split second to Free Dusty. Not really a mattering ace, but they get the turret, get some kills, they get some gold in their pockets. They close the gold lead to being just about even. And we're getting to the point of the game where Baron's going to be on the table, and these teams are going to be fighting for a potential soul quite soon, about 2 minutes until Soul Point is threatened from Free Dusty.
Yeah, the Free Dusty done a good job for themselves of getting back into the game. That play that just happened was quite a lot of gold thrust back into their pockets. Thankfully for them, the Wukong was not there. The Lulu ulted the wrong target, so Arturo got reset after reset after reset with the evolved wings. That point is just one shot, you don't stand a chance. Dusty will not stand a chance if Pac-Rat commits, but it's a bit too far to be walking up without much vision. Don't have a whole lot, but Insta in a tough spot.
Speaking of walking up without much vision, Insta gets caught in a very bad spot and gets caught in a flame breath from L10. Sure, it's not used in a team fight, but it is used to get a secure on a kill on the jungler, crucially when Baron has spawned. L10 can at least sustain this ultimate a little bit longer with the Baron being taken. There's the Chains of Corruption from Refugee from mid. Only lands onto the support though. May get a lot onto that player, but not the target you really want to get the damage on. L10 falling low as well though. Spartan 87 trio crowd teleporting in. The flank is here. The spin move is going to be on for the monkey in just a second. He's CC'd for so very long though. Is barely able to get the knockout off, but his team is just lagging behind too much. Nobody is falling, but everybody is low health. There's the first 2 kills of the fight over to Team 1. As well as the trade, the monkey has fallen. Who is this mid now trying to kite out Spartan 87? The W from Spartan 87 securing so much damage, but Pac-Rat is still up and available to turn the fight around. The explosion passive from who is this mid finding the kill, but 2 members are still alive here. Lots of damage from Pac-Rat, finding the insta-kill onto Insta Arturo. Now it's on to Pac-Rat to close the distance. This is the lethality virus. You can't survive 200 years of Viego, and Pac-Rat secures the ace for his team, the sole member standing on the map after that fight.
Pac-Rat played that fight clinically, being exactly where they needed to, dodging out of harm's way at perfectly the right time. We get the replay as they take the dragon. It started off looking pretty good. Misaki got chunked out so early, as does L10, but this TP on the back from Trio Cyro almost went badly. He got CC'd up for a very long time right then, but Spartan holding onto the Lulu ult means he don't get that extra knockup. He got some time to get the damage down, and after that, the rest of Team 1 caught up. Spartan 87 did a valiant job cleaning that fight up, making it not nearly as bad as it could have been. But Pac-Rat just too strong. They thought they could have the 1v2 insta, was way too far up. Steal the Kha'Zix, who is quite fed. Use it for the gap close, and that is all Pack Rat needed to secure that fight for Team 1. Secure the dragon for themselves afterwards. Oh, not quite. Thought that would have gone
It took
faster.
him so long to get the dragon that the rest of Free Dusty has already made the distance from the base to follow Pack Rat, and he hasn't had time to spend the gold from the last fight, so he's going to want to just disengage this, give up the soul most likely. They don't have the smite to contest anymore. Pack Rat gets over the wall, but he has to heal off the dragon. He's so low on health, falling to just a sliver. This is going to be the disengage, and dragon almost guaranteed. Guaranteed at this point. Cured soul, or soul point for Free Dusty.
Yeah, that was... Man, that took a really long time to do that dragon, huh?
Yeah.
Soul point for Free Dusty. They honestly might have been able to try and rotate over to the Baron, as L10 was still dead. Pack Rat had to reset, but safe play is the name of the game for Free Dusty. They're going to take their soul point. They're not going to be caught, risk being caught with their hand in the cookie jar. They'll wait that 6 minutes because they get the next dragon. That is a massive influx of power. Another Infernal Soul on the table. You saw one last game for Team 1. Free Dusty going to look to get it this game. A Spartan in a fierce fight with Trio.
Bait. It's such a big bait, though. L10 is here, and Trio Cryo doesn't really even need his help. That's so much damage on the Wukong to pick off that key member. This opens up a lot of opportunities on the map. Where is the fight now for Free Dusty? They lost their mid laner. They lost their star player and the person who's won them so many fights. And now Insta is in a difficult spot. Not sure if he had a jump available. I'm not sure where he used it, but it's going to fall as well. And is already down to the 3 versus 5 cross-map play. Both the side lanes being pushed. Refugee from mid, now using the Chains of Corruption. The Trio Cryo has a ton of damage to answer. Refugee got a lot of damage, but he's still going to fall over to the 8th. Trio finding a trade kill, maybe a second one. Flappy is fairly tanky. It gets on the turret, gets to safety. Other side though, Pack Rat gets the dive down onto Dusty. He's no longer free from the top lane. He's free from life at this point. Inner turret top is going to fall, as well as inner turret bot as the split pushes on. And cross the board, Team 1 takes their victories.
I feel like I have just had a consistent commentator curse for this entire game. Anytime either team does anything good, they get punished for it somewhere else. Who is this mid? Just ran Spartan down under the inhibitor turret. Had no fear for the Gale Force forward. They won't get the turret because Refugee is alive now, but they can turn their eyes potentially towards the Baron. Spartan has 28 more seconds. Just gonna clear out the jungle, get the vision that they can. Perhaps wait for anybody if they decide to take a stroll through this unwarded territory.
I mean, there were a little bit of doubts for who is this mid going down into the bot lane role to play AD carry, but so far today he's been showing up so strong, especially compared to how the bot lane played out yesterday for Team 1. I think a solo kill almost, sort of. Got a speed boost, I guess, but still gets all the damage down onto Spartan 87, gets a free kill onto him. Now with this back, so many members on Team 1 are getting a reset and getting so much gold in their pockets. That was just a full mortal reminder picked up for who's this mid. It's completely purchased up. So he's going to have the healing reduction to now deal with Spartan 87. Make sure that champion can't be quite as strong going into these mid-late game team fights.
Yeah, it's been refunded. It might be purchasing something else. I think I would prefer to see a Chemtech Future Fire from the Lulu, so Kog'Maw doesn't have to index into that healing reduction.
That's true.
Phantom Dancer is going to be the choice for who is this mid.
Still a full Phantom Dancer purchase. That's a lot of gold being spent. 3,000 gold of a lead.
That is more offensive stats by far than they would have gotten with the Mortal Reminder. Yeah, goodbye, Dusty. Dusty is going to jail, not collecting $200.
Hey, at least he doesn't have to play League of Legends for 35 seconds. He's free from this eternal burden.
That is true. And Flappy
No,
Bits
looking
may
for
be
a-
as well.
This is a little bit of a bait from Flappy, but he doesn't know how many members are here from Team 1. Losing out on most of his health bar, but here's Who's This Mid playing way too aggressively, immediately turned on to by Spartan 87, insta tunnel visioning onto the support. Misaki Suri securing the kill, but there's still a Viego, there's still a Monkey tearing apart this team, tearing apart all the health bars. Percent health overtime is going to win out on these fights 10 times out of 10, and an ace almost sort of is secured by Team 1. They're going to get this dragon, prevent the soul.
Yeah, we're gonna look at this again. Flappy Bits was pretty caught out there in the jungle with some greedy pathing. It looked pretty good. So Who Is This Mid extended way too far, but fighting in a choke point in the jungle against AP Shyvana is not what you want to do. That Flame Breath destroyed the health bars of almost everyone on free Dusty. It let Packrat just jump into the backline, clean up all of those free kills. Spartan 87 could not salvage the fight this time, and soul point number 1 denied by Team 1 as they move themselves up to a 7,000 gold lead in this game.
They're putting the work at this point in the game, getting the fights that they need. Viego has scaled up to being his invincible self, but Spartan 87 finds a pick onto L10. That's the smite removed, but there's still an AD carry here. Who Is This Mid is going to be taken out instantly, but not before he secures the kill onto the opposing mid laner. Trio Cryo now in the fight with Packrat, trying to finish off the rest of the fight as Arturo falls as well. 2 versus 2, but it's the Monkey and the Viego, the 2 members that have been diving the backline, one-shotting them all the time. Going to be the falling back from free Dusty mid lane, the focus here at this point for Team 1.
Yeah, look at the start of this fight. Dusty got chunked out at the beginning. Spartan found their way in, was looking for it, had a great pick onto L10. This is where it was fantastic. Couldn't quite get the healing they needed on Who Is This Mid. Insta just able to delete that Cogmaw. If that hadn't happened, that fight would have just been a disaster for free Dusty. That would have been way worse, almost definitely an ace and the Baron. But thankfully for free Dusty, the Cogmaw was not able to survive that one. They will be able to hold on for the time being, even if that is not what they wanted. A 3 for 3, it's some money, but it doesn't get you anywhere. This point in the game, you're still down 8,000 gold. You need something. You need these positive interactions to come from somewhere. I don't know where you're gonna find them if you're free Dusty. Try and get a pick with the dredge line, with the depth charge, with the change of corruption somewhere, because they're struggling to hold on at this point.
Struggling to hold on indeed. They just can't deal with the backline dive. There's no way a refugee can get out of these fights. And Arturo is going to have so many issues dealing through these humongous health bars, especially now that Packrat has purchased the Death Stance. He's not going to be taking any physical damage at this point. It's on to Spartan 187 to do the majority of the heavy lifting for his team in terms of damage to take out these hyper carries. They'll be just deleting every single player. Trio Cryo delaying so the Baron can be taken, but the DPS is not quite there in the Baron. It's about half health at this point. Trio Cryo is still isolated on the side by the Pixel Brush, trying to buy some more time, but the turn is here from Who Is This Mid. First kill secured onto Spartan 180 or Spartan 87. He is the main magic damage dealer, but there goes the smite as well. This fight is already over. Already an ace cleanly secured by Team 1. They are likely to just close out the game right here. 30 seconds on the death timers, 40 seconds on Dusty. There's no way that they don't close it out, or at least get every single remaining objective until the Nexus.
Yeah, they're just going to be pushing straight up the mid lane. With 15 seconds, they might not finish it out, but we look back at how it happened. Spartan 87 tried to go in. Said, all right, I'm taking the Wukong ult. I'm going to use this to dive the back line, but Trio True had other plans for that. Silas just deleted him off the rift before it could do anything. And at that point, it had fallen apart. Trio was just taking care of 3 members of Free Dusty on one half of the fight. The other 2 were being taken care of by the rest of the team, and that's all she wrote for that one. Team 1 continuing the push up mid. They're gonna go for it. They got time.
Plenty of time. They take these turrets down as fast as possible. We're not having a 1-game best of 3 series. We're going sort of the distance. Sure, we didn't get game 1, but it's 1-1 in this series. So we're back towards having ourselves a tie series. This was the same way it went in their previous matchup in the winners finals, and now in the grand finals, Team 1 is trying to prove that it was a fluke. They're the ones that deserve to be the winners here.
Yeah, they're coming back with a vengeance, and you sent us to losers bracket. We're making you pay for it. We're gonna try our damnedest to unseat Team 8, take that number 1 prize for themselves. We're gonna go, I believe, to a quick break between this and our next game. So stay tuned for the conclusion of our tournament here today.
I was born and when I watched me elevate. I was born and when I watched me elevate.
keep this feeling, keep on breathing, even if we're slipping away. So I close my eyes and lose myself now, do it like it's only today. We got a party for a lifetime, no we ain't stopping for the sunrise, and we don't care about the bad nights.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our final game of the Summer Meltdown, hosted here by Proud Ontario Gamers and AVGL Trials League of Legends. Team 1 came ahead in that last game, getting us to a 1-1 scoreline against hashtag Free Dusty, aka Team 8. They're starting to look a little bit like their dead LCS counterparts, and that isn't great, but hopefully they can get back into it, draft a little bit better of a composition in Game 2, or Game 3 technically, close out this nice and strong, and prove that the winners finals were not a fluke. What are you thinking about last game, and how do you think it's going to change up into this game, David?
Oh boy, all right, we got some things to unpack. First of all, Pack Rats Viego was dominant. You can see why that has been banned so much so far. The player is phenomenal on the champion. The champion is incredibly strong. And Pack Rat just the pilot, the knowledge of what to do with that champion, how to pilot it was stellar. And even though Spartan was doing a good job fighting back in the lane, when it got to the team fight phases, Packrat was on top of it, knew exactly what to do. Hey, Team Free Dusty definitely wants to consider banning that one out. Furthermore, I cannot ignore the top lane discrepancy. Trio was, for lack of a better word, dumpstering Dusty Donuts in the 1v1. It was not even close. There was that one failed dive the Trio just gifted over some gold back, but aside from that, Dusty was barely involved in fights in an impactful way, was down an incredible amount of gold, and was overall just barely a factor. Team Free Dusty, in my opinion, needs to do one of two things. Make it so that lane matchup does not matter and just shut Trio down. Or focus the rest of the map incredibly hard to try and offset that. Make Refugee from mid or Spartan 87 incredibly powerful, because that might still be a pain point coming into the second game that they need to alleviate somehow.
Yeah, I'm really interested by some of the bans that have already been chosen here from Free Dusty. Like Viego, as you said, had to be taken off the table, as well as the Kane, the two big threats, both in the jungle, both in the mid lane between L10 and Packrat. But I'm honestly interested about the Yuumi. It wasn't picked in, I don't think, any game from Team 1 yet so far. And I'm pretty sure Misaki Sayuri has plenty of other options.
Yeah, they most definitely do. As they left the Leona up as well. We saw the Seraphine a few times yesterday. Both of those would, especially the Leona, would pair very well with the things that Team 1 has already drafted, the Hecarim and the Vhagar. Free Dusty, going to the same solo laners in the Sylas and set picking up the Lee Sin. A more, maybe a bit more of a controlled pick than the Kha'Zix for Insta. Doesn't quite have those one-shot potentials that Insta was using last game, but definitely can make plays with the Dragon's Rage, as we all know. Pack Rat on the other side, going to a interesting scaling control mage in the Vhagar. What do you think of that one?
I honestly have no idea. It's a very strange change up from Viego, and pretty much the complete opposite champion.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Viego is 148th Vhagar, since he can turn into Vhagar minus the ultimate, but still very different champion. You're going to be playing a lot safer. You're going to be playing for your stun, play with your team to just create havoc, play around the Hecarim ulti and the Vhagar stun, just fear everybody into that field, be able to secure multiple kills, large CC chains, get your team a win. That being said, Vayne, which is Refugee from Mid's main champion in the bot lane, was let through this game. It was the first ban last game by Team 1. But this time, we're going to see it happen. He's going to have to bring that cleanse.
Yeah. So comfort pick for Refugee from Mid definitely likes that champion, and I hope you can see them put up a good performance on it. However, speaking from a purely team composition perspective, I kind of hate Vayne in this draft. There is so many tools from Team 1 to make that champion irrelevant. The Cyclone, the Unstoppable Onslaught. I don't remember what Hecarim's ult is called. Onslaught of Shadows, that's what it is. From L10. You have the Cage from Veigar. The entire champion of Leona is built around making Vayne unable to move. Refugee from Mid has to bring cleanse. They're absolutely trolling if they don't. But one cleanse is not nearly enough to save you from all of those things to deal with. Vayne, also a very short range AD carry, only 500, has to be very near to all of the champions on Team 1 to do any damage. And that's going to be so hard to execute for Refugee from Mid, especially Packer on the other side is playing Veigar. If all else fails, you just walk up and press R. That's point and click. You can't do anything about it. So Refugee from Mid, I want them to prove me wrong, but it's going to be very, very difficult to execute that Vayne comp in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a pseudo counter to Ezreal. That's all you really got. But, I mean, it is his favored pick. Does have the most games played on that Vayne. And did really want in last game. You can see that Team 1 was a little bit afraid since they chose to first ban that and then ban out pretty much the rest of their bans focused on Spartan 87. So the fact that that Vayne took priority, it was out of there as soon as possible, means that Refugee from Mid could be a big threat on that Vayne pick, even if he has to deal with all these other threats. Wants to become Gosu in this game. May he rest in peace, sort of.
Is Gosu still around? What? Never happened.
He's taking a break.
Okay.
Hasn't done anything in a while, but
the more veteran League of Legends players very familiar with that name and some of the highlight reels that Vayne has produced. See if Refugee from Mid can replicate any of those. The entire composition from Team 1, as I mentioned, is kind of built around making that not happen. So we will have to see. But I've belabored that point enough. I want to talk about some other ways that Free Dusty can take this game into their own hands. They chose the Galio for Flappy Bits, meaning that Packrat's Veigar in the mid lane could be put under a lot of pressure. You can very easily set up these 2-3 man plays with the Lee Sin, the Galio, the Silas. Once you hit that level 6 mark, the hero's entrance, just drop it on somebody. Silas jumps towards the Veigar, and there's not a whole lot that Veigar can do to get away from that. He has the event horizon to maybe keep somebody off of him, but that is it. It's a lot of people that you might have to deal with, and I definitely see that as a way that Free Dusty can try and eke themselves out an advantage in this game.
Yeah, it's also good to see L10 back on another carry-ish jungler playing the Hecarim. It's not quite what we've seen from him so far between a Nunu and Kha'Zix and Kayn, but it's a nice split between the playstyle of the Kayn and also the playstyle of the Nunu, where you're going to be creating gank opportunities across the map that nobody can really get away from, and you're also going to be able to dish out damage, especially AoE damage in team fights, and just become a huge distraction. I love the synergy that it has with his team comp as well. I think it works out incredibly well with the Veigar, incredibly well with the Wukong as well. They can dive super easily, get through the Condemn from Vayne since it's unstoppable, and perhaps just win the fight straight off of ultis. But both these team comps, they can put in the work. They can both find themselves wins. And I think Dusty will also need to step it up this game, because if he gets a good showstopper onto like a Hecarim, for example, or even if Misaki Sayuri dives, you can get a lot of damage across with that ability. It just comes to good positioning on those ultimates, good positioning on the team fights, just being able to win out from the very start. I believe we're going to be heading into game very soon, though, as it's been a few minutes since Champion Select had concluded. We're going to see if these teams can find their win in this final game of the tournament.
Yeah, Dusty and Flappy are, like you mentioned, the showstopper from Dusty is going to be very crucial. And they're going to have to make some choices. So you can either use those ultimates, like use the Galio and the set to be those hard engaged champions, or you can maybe sacrifice some of that peel for the Vayne, which could be a very effective angle for Free Dusty to go for. It would alleviate a lot of the pressure off of Refugee from mid's Vayne and let her actually play the game, which Team 1 is trying desperately to not let them do. Hoping we'll be able to get into game very shortly. But for now... Oh,
there
never
we
mind.
go.
Screw it. We're in.
We are in indeed. This is the final game of the series of the tournament. Free Dusty wants to be able to close it out finally, and Team 1 wants to continue their winning spree of the day. Our journey through this broadcast started with Team 1 finding the win in the winner's bracket very early on against Team 2. Now, it's only accustomed to us to close it out with them, see if they can find their final win, see if they can close this out as we head over through the mid lane, see the beautiful logos between Proud Ontario Gamers and AVGL, who is sponsoring this tournament. And also
Yeah, shout out
sponsoring
to them.
whoever is the victor.
All right, I gotta ask for the final time today. Who you got? Can Team 1 keep up the momentum with this hard engaged competition and reverse the record from the winners finals match, or is Free Dusty gonna reach deep into their pockets and pull out a win?
I don't know. This game is very volatile, I'd say. And I definitely like the picks from Free Dusty. I think they're strong. I think if they play the early game well, then they can pull out a victory in this one. But giving over some strong picks like Trio Cryo's Wukong again, giving the Ezreal over towards Team 1, I would have to say that it's going to be a close game, but I still think Team 1 is going to pull it out here.
Yeah, their comp seems easier to execute, but ease of execution does not mean always that they will be the winning team. So far from both junglers, nice standard bottom side start. Insta is taking a much quicker path, opting to skip both of the bottom side camps, going buff Gromp, likely top lane afterwards. Meanwhile, some more standard, just full clear from the Hecarim. It's going to be cleared the entire bottom side, working up to the top side. It will be a little bit later up there than the Lee Sin, so hopefully Insta can make use of that timing discrepancy to look at Trio, who has been very pushed up since the first wave.
Very pushed up. Does have a ward down right now, but Insta's looking for a potential invade onto that Hecarim. No, he's probably on the red buff right now. He's going to try to find that Sonic Wave as the question mark ping is pinged out, and Packrat starting to make the rotation down to help his jungler. L10 does get away with his life. I believe he got the red buff as well just before Lee Sin arrived, but now this is going to be on to Scuttle Crabs, getting some information for both the junglers, but in the end, going to both be even on XP and gold.
It looks like he missed the red buff. No, Insta definitely got it. But
yeah, he did.
Hold on to that for a second as we have a fight in the bottom lane.
Fight in the bot lane, the flash has already been used from Misaki Sayuri, but there's true damage, percent health damage from Refugee. Also, the ability to run away. First kill secured already. Misaki Sayuri so low on health, but the double kill is there as the trade is on to Packrat in the mid lane. Still 100% worth. Bot lane getting ahead so early is very crucial for the success of Team 1.
Yeah, getting a double kill in lane as an Ezreal who started tier is very, very good for the bottom lane of Team 1. You really like generally when you go for that start, you say, all right, I'm gonna concede the first few levels of this game as I just stack up my tier, instead looking for a repeat in the mid lane as I say that.
You can't do any sort of fancy footwork to boot Pagrat away from his turret. Still a lot of damage onto that Vhagar. Still fairly easily to follow up onto it as well. L10 getting a bit of damage onto the Lee Sin as well, but not enough to secure a kill. Gets stunned up. Can't see this ever being a kill in the favor of Team 1, but they will get the wave into a good place and end up coming away on the beneficial side of that trade.
Yeah, and statistically speaking, Team 1 winning out on that pretty hard. The Vhagar getting the stacks of the passive, continuing to scale up by hitting champions with those abilities. So, time wasted and money and stats gained by Team 1 in avoiding that gank. Spartan just gonna take the reset, teleport back out to avoid losing any of that golden experience. That's a bold teleport.
Bold teleport. Spartan 87 looking for the kill onto Packrat. There's very low mana on the Vhagar, but there is a Horsey to the rescue. Spinning on to Spartan 87, but again, not a lot of damage on these champions super early into the game. He's just going to walk on out of there, save his own life. Bot lane's roam up as well, but I think everybody's just going to return to form, return to lane, get themselves out of there. Packrat, yet again, jumped onto. L10 still here to help out in the mid lane. Flash is still on Spartan 87. He's going to turn around, flashes onto Packrat, secures the kill with a final auto, steals the ultimate from the Hecarim as well, gets the fear, gets the spin, gets the double kill. 1v2 for Spartan 87.
Spartan 87, the man of the hour, deftly navigates that 1v2, taking the kill with the Packrat, hits the level 6 mark, and L10's poor level 4 Hecarim didn't stand a chance. We get to watch the replay of this, aggressing onto Packrat. That event horizon miss was critical. It was looking pretty bad. You know, L10 coming in here full health, Hecarim, Silas not quite as healthy as he would look like, but that level up from the Vhagar kill, giving Spartan access to the onslaught of shadows, getting the crowd control down on the Hecarim, and taking the kill. But in the bot lane, they're looking for more.
Looking for more, just barely missing out on the kill onto Misaki Sayuri, but L10 is here to spin around on these players. Gets the first kill over to Who Is This Mid. Looking for a second, but just enough damage to get Lee Sin. Double kill yet again. Trying to look for the triple kill. Is able to find it. Traded back for the shutdown going over Refugee from mid. Still a lot of gold given to that Ezreal. Now 5-1 on that pick.
Oh boy, Who Is This Mid is firmly in control and will be for the foreseeable future unless Spartan can do anything about it. A 5-1 Ezreal at 7.5 minutes in the game is just a monstrous pace to be at for Who Is This Mid. The tiers stacking up nicely. 150 stacks on that one. Spartan looking for another kill?
So very dead. Yeah, Packrat got himself in a very sticky area right there. Not close enough to the turret. Had to take the long walk back there while just getting beaten up by Spartan 87. This Silas is the counter right here to the Ezreal at the moment. He's the one doing the work for his team. I'm not even sure if L10 can find that kill. Has to play it safe knowing a jungler could be there to help. Insta though, looking for the dragon as Who Is This Mid is going to check it right here. There's a control ward. Walks up a little bit aggressively, but now it's on to Spartan 87. They might try to turn it, find the kill, but the collapse is here. The teleport is in. There's the clap close onto Who Is This Mid. He has to flash or E over the wall. Neither are up, and neither is his health bar at this point. Dusty Donuts gets the kill. A big shutdown to that top laner.
Yeah, Dusty needs something. I was avoiding looking at the scoreboard down at the bottom, but 40
Monkey
CS down in 8 minutes. That 600 gold is probably about as much as Dusty had earned that far in total this game. So
I think it was more.
It might have been more. It may very well may have been. That set very much in need of that gold. Trio using the time spent by Dusty down there in the river to take some more minions, crash in the turret, get some turret plating, and increase the advantage that he has on that Wukong. As that Wukong has a lot of farm compared to everyone else in this game.
Yeah, everybody's been skirmishing constantly other than the top lane. Been fights over fights, mostly in mid and just in bot, not even the jungle. But these junglers are definitely focusing, trying to get these AD carries ahead. And right now it's not really working out on Free Dusty, but Spartan87 is creating that offset. L10 is looking to push it further by doing the first gank top lane this entire game. Not even going to be finding anything.
Yeah, he's still in the brush. The Onslaught of Shadows is almost back up, as is the Cyclone. So if Dusty walks up too far, that is going to be a dead set.
It does have flash though. They didn't read that quite correctly. Haymaker going to keep his far a little longer. There's the Onslaught of Shadows taken by the Spartan87. Packrat is teleported in. He gets the cage down onto Dusty. Poor man has been destroyed. He's not free. He's now in a literal cage. Now in maybe in a place beyond that at this point. Nice teleport up by Packrat. Going to win himself a fight in the top lane. Now in the bot lane though, we got another fight going on. Flappy getting a bunch of damage with his Vayne. Immediately getting the kill onto who is this mid with the extra 2 damage here. Refugee will pick up the kill, losing his life, but still a worthy trade for Refugee from mid.
Yeah, and the wave is stacked up. That gets denied. Insta gets the turret plating as well. And Spartan continuing to do Spartan things in the middle lane. Solo killing Packrat for the 3rd or 4th time this game. I think those are... No. Those are all solo kills in the kill column for Packrat. So... Oh, this Silas is an absolute terror for Team 1.
He's looking for another one.
Oh my god. Stop it! Stop it! They've had enough! You've 2v1'd them enough times!
I'm so surprised that they let this pick through. I don't know why they let Spartan87 Silas through. It was so good in the last game. They knew that they lost the Viego in this game to be at least a decent counter, a decent matchup into the Silas, that they picked Veigar and let Silas through? Veigar versus Silas when they have a team comp based off ultimates? This just seems like a huge oversight in the draft for Team 1.
Yeah.
Maybe they were more scared of some other champions, but like this Silas is putting in so much work, and at this point even more than who is this mid is doing in the bot lane.
It's gonna be a fight between... I mean, Refugee from mid got a lot of gold back in that bottom lane play, right? They're well on their way to coming back in this game, becoming a force to be reckoned with for the bottom lane of Team 1. So it's really gonna be down to the fights between Spartan87, Trio, and the 2 AD carries. They are the ones with all the money. They're gonna be the ones doing all the damage come these later game fights. And speaking of fights, we got one in the bottom lane.
They're going on to Refugee from mid, a little farther from Misuki Sayuri. It's not going to work out in the favor of Team 1. Too deep right there. Sure, the Vayne was chunked out early, but she had a turret there to fall back to, and we were saying that they were trying to come back. They have already made the comeback at this point, not even counting the Mountain Dragon. They're sitting up about a kill above in terms of gold. Team 1's scoreline.
Yeah, I mean, the fights started to not quite go the way of Team 1's bottom lane. Speaking of fights...
Another one.
That's not even a fight. That is a slaughter. That is a murder in the mid lane. Packrat cannot play this game. He's playing Gray Screen Simulator.
It's really on to Trio Cryo at this point to be the big difference maker in this game. He was so effective in the last game. He's done work on Gangplank in previous games of the tournament. Now on the Wukong. He's pretty much the only player on his team that has a significant enough lead to really be able to turn these fights around and get the fight wins. Like at this point, Spartan87 is so very strong, and it's going to be so hard to kill him in the team fights, especially with the lack of effective burst at this point. Packrat not going to get the scaling super early into the game to be able to do those one-shots, and until we get to those later stages of the game, it's going to be incredibly hard for any player on Free Dusty to fall. And even then, it's a split threat composition. You have to worry about the Vayne as well. And Vhagar can't just one-tap both of them with his R. He has to wait on that cooldown. He has to be able to secure maybe even just a stun to land his W and do the burst as well. So it's going to be super hard to win out as this game goes on and as Free Dusty gets their scaling. And especially if they just keep solo killing enemy players under turret.
I want to see Spartan buy Medjai's. It's time. There are 10
He's
seals
got
on the 10
yeah.
stacks on the Dark Seal. Has 6 kills. Seems almost too big to fail. I don't want to say that with the utmost confidence since Trio is very strong, but yeah, the Medjai's is just an absurd spike in power and would take this Silas to another level. He's 3 levels up on his lane opponent. Even the top lane isn't that bad. This is just utter decimation.
Oh no.
From the mid lane.
It's another one. Looking for it again. There's the onslaught of shadows to get damage onto L10. Didn't quite get it in time to get Packrat. But the threat is already here. He's already on the turret. Trio Cryo's roaming down, getting onto Insta, isn't able to secure the kill. But now Spartan 87 is walking over. He has the Cloud Drake to close the distance. Gets the damage down. There's the Cyclone. Spartan 87 falling very low. There's the enormous shutdown and going to a crucial member of Trio Cryo. Now, Insta doesn't have his ultimate up. He does have Flash. He does have the Safeguard. He's going to get on out of there. But that's still a lot of gold back into the pockets of Team 1. And a monstrous top laner to put it onto.
Yeah, that is exactly who they wanted that gold on. Trio's Wukong is massive in this game. 123 farm, way above anybody else in the game. Massively above the lane opponent. And that was a 800 gold, I believe, 900 gold shutdown that they just
a big one.
picked,
I want to take a look
up off of the Silas. Yeah. Observers, if you could see the gold,
right
I want to see what it's looking like, because
what's the mid diff, what's the top
boy.
diff? Because I have a feeling like they're going to be very considerable. Not to the point where it is even considerable. It's just going to be dominant. It's just going to be one-sided in both those areas. And
I mean, the overall gold lead is about the same, but the individual lanes are certainly going to tell a different story. As there are very specific points of power for both teams.
specific points of power, these teams are going to clash somewhere around this bot side. You can see the junglers, or at least mid, for Free Dusty, and the jungler of Team 1 positioned around the bot side of the map. There's about a minute until that dragon is up, and that's what they're looking to fight for, or fight B for. Packrat getting some mid prio as he hasn't added the entire game thus far. Should be able to set up quite nicely and make a nice even fight. There's teleports on both top laners. Packrat is just fighting for his dear life. No damage on that Vhagar quite yet.
I mean, honestly, props to Packrat for only being down like a wave and a half. That is some tenacity to be able to keep up that well in farm when you're down 1-6 and getting constantly solo killed. In the top lane, Trio getting a solo first tower. Spartan maybe finding another solo kill in mid. Not quite.
Is pretty tanky at this point. He has his mythic secured, as well as the bot lane. We've cut 3 Divine Sunders here. Misaki Siri falling very low, though, has the true damage left to try to figure out the kill from Refugee from mid, but here's the teleport from Trio Cryo. Got his turret, doesn't need to play up here anymore. Who is this mid securing the first kill on to Refugee from mid? Now it's on to the rest of the fight. Packrat has joined. Silas is nowhere to be seen. 2 more kills secured. Dusty falling over. Big swing of events. 3 kills secured for Team 1. So they're going to turn onto the dragon, likely get bot turret as well.
Yeah, there was no teleport committed from the mid laner of Free Dusty. Everyone from Team 1, but this Silas nowhere to be found. Means, as you said, a big swing of events to Team 1 as they take the dragon. We see again what happened. This fight was looking so good. Refugee from mid tunneled pretty hard onto the Leona. Very desperately wanted that kill. Ended up just gifting that one over to the Ezreal on the back half of that. And at this point, the Galio is incredibly low. There are far more members of Team 1 in the area, all with full health bars. There's no possible way that Free Dusty can contest that without Spartan 87 in the area. And that's a lot of money over to Team 1. Who is this mid finishing up the Chainsword as their second item instead of going for that Muramana? That's definitely a loss in power compared to the Muramana, but I get the idea to cut the healing of Spartan and Vayne. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Spartan is getting collapsed on.
He's getting collapsed on, uses the Onslaught of Shadows to get some distance, but he doesn't have a turret there, and you're running away from a Hecarim of all champions. This guy moves fast. We do have some damage. He does get it onto L10, only by enough time. Packrat's there on the flank, isn't going to get over to L10 in time, spinning around, getting the kill. Having that mid laner down on the Rift takes just about like half of Free Dusty's gold away. Refugee from mid cleansing out of Leona Solar Flare. It's getting the distance, and there's no way that who is this mid can get the damage down onto the opposing AD carry. Nice condemn onto Ezreal. Who is this mid having to run away for dear life? But look at who's up beside him. Insta is getting around. He's going to get behind, and just another kill secured for Refugee from mid.
Yeah, they're winning out in the 2v2s. I can't help but wonder if Ezreal had had the extra power from that Muramana, if they would have been able to just straight up kill the Vayne instead of indexing into that full Chainsword this early. Regardless, the 2v2 once again going in favor of Free Dusty. They need all the advantages they can get. This Vayne is starting to scale up. Has the shield built, has the Phantom Dancer completed now, as well as the boots, working towards a Ginsu's Rage Blade. So once that third item comes online, this Vayne is going to be incredibly scary if it can stay alive. Spartan has been taken down a few pegs in the mid lane. As you can see, those Dark Seal stacks only had 2. Hasn't really been involved in a whole lot recently, and Insta may have bit off more than he can chew.
I mean, Trio Crowd has to worry about a Vayne as well. Has a bunch of damage, and actually enough to kill Levain right there. Big stuff from Trio Crowd. Gets a kill, gets a turret, and sets up his team to siege the mid lane as well. So they have a little bit of time before rotation can come in. L10 as well. Solo killing Dusty in the top side of the map. These are not the players you expect to be getting the solo kills in the places that they are. But it's working out for Team 1. Getting a little bit of a gold lead yet again. Was swinging towards the Silas for so long.
Yeah, at this point the Silas train has started to slow down. The brakes are being applied, and we need Spartan 87 is the playmaker from Free Dusty. The playmaker. There's not really anybody else that's going to be anywhere near as effective at setting things up as this Silas. Everyone else is just kind of there for the party. They will support, but Spartan needs to be the one making things happen. He has the Solar Flare, looking towards the Ezreal if who is this mid steps up too far, but neither team really wants to make anything too aggressive happen as the dragon is coming up very soon. Free Dusty getting their waves, taking resets, going to be ready to come out and try and get themselves soul point in the next few seconds.
And they're going to be trying to set up around that. They don't have the most impressive vision control, but they do have wards around it. They can see if Team 1 is going to position for it, and at this point they've got enough information to say, hey guys, let's rotate over, let's get a group around, possibly look for a pick with Lee Sin. Can land a good Sonic Wave and avoid the Vagar cage or any other form of CC, and then that could be a huge pick opportunity for his team. With that being revealed and the teleport being cast by Free Dusty, this is a lot gained in terms of what Team 1 knows to do about the positioning. Don't have
Who is this
everybody
mid?
by
Is it
the
here?
dragon.
Who is this mid? Is mid lane? We got another perspective.
A replay of the thing that has yet to happen. It's a group fight. L10 is walking on out there as the dragon's already secured. I couldn't see who it went over to, but with everybody onto Free Dusty. Refugee from mid getting onto the back line as well. Who's this mid? Can't quite help out. Just a completely dominant team fight there from Free Dusty.
Unfortunately, though, the dragon did go over to Team 1. There was only 2 casualties on their side, the Hecarim and Leona going down. I guess L10 managed to slide on in there and sneak away the dragon. But like you said, the fight did go over to Free Dusty. They're setting up a little bit of vision in the top side jungles. Baron will be the only objective on the map for the next few minutes, so that is where both teams are going to be vying for control. Some more items starting to come out from both teams. Rageblade is finished for the Vayne. Dusty is looking to get chased down. Hopefully he'll be alright. You okay, Dusty? Are you free? Hashtag free Dusty?
Yeah, I think he's
Dusty's
on out
free.
there. He has the
Dusty's
distance.
free.
He has teammates for him as well. Baron's the next thing in the eyes of both these teams, although no real vision around it, as just a blue ward gives the vision over to Free Dusty.
Yeah.
Another ARAM happening over our logos yet again. Who's this mid? Getting a reset, going to get some healing reduction. Maybe, no, he already has that. He's going to be buying up his Muramon. Finally, the big power spike has been acquired for Ezreal. He's going to be dishing out a lot more damage now and hopefully be able to answer back to the insane pressure that Refugee from mid is putting up in this game.
Yeah, that chainsword is definitely a power trough. As you know, when you buy these items, you're paying for every stat on the item, and the major one on that item being the healing reduction. You don't get the damage that you would have for spending the money on Muramana, which is probably a reasonable factor in why Who Is This Mid hasn't been as dominant as earlier in the game. But now that mythic, or that not mythic, that large item is online, hopefully it can make some more things happen. The Wukong in the top lane on 3 items, and the Executioner is calling, is no longer a monkey. That is a gorilla. It's a full-grown ape in the top lane that is looking to just ravage Free Dusty.
Yeah, they have to get the kill secured onto Refugee from mid in order to win these fights now. It's so hard to get that through Flappy Bits and the insane peel that he offers to the Vayne. Just be able to hold up the Idol of Durand, make sure he gets that taunt as a zoning tool, not even as a taunt off on the opposing team. It just gives so much room for Refugee from mid to work with. And if you're Who Is This Mid, he can't shoot through the Galio, he can't shoot through other players very effectively, and can't get his maximum damage potential off onto Vayne. So it's really coming down to how well Trio Cryo, as well as Packrat, can dish out the hurt onto carry players. But Packrat doesn't even really have all that much damage. He still hasn't scaled yet, he still isn't getting any big damage items. He's all utility at this point, is really not working out. I'm still questioning why they picked Vagar.
Yeah, it's not doing a whole lot, and it's at this point, Free Dusty is not in engage mode, which the Vagar is good at stopping. Free Dusty is entirely in peel for the Vayne in these team fights. The point of power is Trio's Wukong. That is the one major player that is going to be make or break for Team 1. At this point, the Galio and the Set should not be using their ultimates to go in. They have enough crowd control to just stand on the Vayne, be a meat wall. There is no meat wall, though, in the bottom lane to save Spartan. That is a long road home, my friend.
Long road home. Gotta get the gap close here. Look at where Free Dusty is. They're going to get the close in time. But now Galio is separated from the team. It's on to Refugee from mid to be able to dish out the damage. Is taking a bunch from Trio Cryo, but isn't going to get the rest of the gap closed. That's Monkey for mid laner. Spartan 87 is the other member to fall. L10 just trying to get away with his dear life, is able to get the distance, but now it's on to Packrat. Can he dish the damage? He gets it onto Dusty Donuts, but Refugee from mid is still alive, taking out the support of the opposing team. With CC on, he can't hit the rest of the members. But still just going to be Packrat and L10 getting on out of there. Away with their lives. Who is this mid? Coming to the Dragon as well.
Dragon is up. Health bars are low. Insta is on. The Dragon burning it down. The ADC from Team 1 is around a 3v3. It's gonna break out.
3v3 indeed. And I'm not sure if Refugee mid can get a good distance away. Does have the flash. Doesn't need it quite yet. There's the cage to zone off the Vayne, flashed away, but Spartan 87 has now joined the fight. He's closed the distance, and now he can get onto the Veigar. Doesn't get quite around the cage, but Packrat can't finish it off either. Another chain to come through, and who is this mid? Desperately looking for another. He gets Flappy Bits, but isn't in the position. He does get another kill. Trio Cryo teleported in to help out, but the Dragon goes over to free Dusty, and Soul Point has been secured.
That fight lasted long enough for the two members on both teams to respawn and come back. Critically in this, Free Dusty did get the Dragon. They put themselves on Soul Point, and they did a fantastic job keeping Refugee from mid alive. If that chain had connected a split second later, this fight would have gone so much better for Free Dusty. He wouldn't have had to overextend nearly that far to get the kills. But overall, I believe it was a 5 for 3 or something, 5 for 4. In favor of Team 1. Yeah, there were a lot of kills going down on both teams. But regardless, the Soul Point is secured for Free Dusty. They kept Vayne alive. Vayne now has the Guardian Angel to give herself a second chance if the Wukong decides that she gets to die once. So that is going to be a great boon for Free Dusty in these coming fights, because Refugee from mid is very successfully avoiding a lot of the punishment of Team 1. In that last fight, they did a fantastic job maneuvering around the solar flare and the event horizon from Team 1, dodging out on those critical pieces of crowd control that would be the only thing stopping this Vayne.
Refugee from mid, dishing out so much hurt. Are able to force out the flash, but Who's This Mid is now stuck in a bad place. The cage is going to delay his death just a tiny bit, but the damage has already been done. Packrat is the last member standing from this fight. Trio Cryo was nowhere to be seen. It's a 1 for 3 right by the Baron. This should be a very easy secure here for Free Dusty. Should be them getting back into the gold lead as well. Looks like Packrat maybe trying to contest though.
Jungler is dead. They're not going to try for it. Just get the mid lane priority. No chance of a steal. They're going to trade something back. Look at this fight. Misaki chunked out very early, and Who Is This Mid was just way too far up. Jumped on and deleted. And this is exactly the engage combo that Free Dusty is going for. Have Silas jump in. Zanya's right as the Galio ult is channeled. You get those two beefy members on into the fight. And after that, when they get to net themselves a Baron, not quite back in the gold lead, but looking at these graphs, Refugee from mid 2,000 up on their lane opponent. 3,000 up is insta in the jungle. We're not going to talk about the top lane. Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about it. It's yeah, there's a little bit up in top lane. But these fights need to change. These fights really need to change up from Team 1. That was terrible positioning there from Who's This Mid. Getting picked off by an Everfrost of all things. Loses life due to getting hit by a items CC is incredibly bad, especially when you're Ezreal, a champion who can escape CC by pressing E at the right time. Get hit during the channel, you still get the blink off, you can still get the distance, and just died immediately after by the onslaught of shadows, stolen by Spartan 87. Now as the dragon becomes the next buff, I love to see how this setup happens from Team 1. If they get good enough vision and position their players correctly, they can set up for a great front-to-back team fight, maybe finally get a kill into Refugee from mid. After so long of having so much trouble getting something onto him. At this point, he's got the 1,000 gold shutdown. He's a big target who can dish out all the damage that's needed onto the tank members. And Trio Cryo, I don't think at this point can one-shot him anymore either, as he has purchased up the GA as well. So Dragon,
And
yeah.
critically on that back, Refugee from mid finished the Bloodthirster. That is a lot of lifesteal coming out of that vein. Trio is going to have a very hard time one-shotting, and Trio is nowhere to be found.
Yep, Trio nowhere to be found. Did have the teleport available, but they're not going to take the fight. Going to give that soul over. They say it's not the biggest deal in the world. It's a cloud soul. Sure, it helps out with rotations. Sure, we can't really split push anymore. But is it going to make the fights the biggest difference as opposed to a lot of the other souls that could potentially be taken? Something like an Infernal Drake, Mountain Drake, or even the Ocean Drake would be huge at swinging these fights. Teleports here, but Dusty Donuts, all he needs to do is press Q. All he needs to do is press E, I mean. And Trio Cryo, it's kind of a bad situation. He's going to fall.
As soon as Dusty started auto-attacking, the Wukong was like, oh, is he not going to press E? Please. Please tell me he presses E.
Yeah.
But they got it. Teleport canceled. That is now down for Trio, and that's going to be a pretty big resource to not have. Can't split push as effectively, but split pushing is not the focus right now as they're going in mid.
Oh, wow. Big shield from that Immortal Shield Bow. He got stunned twice, and Refugee from mid is still dealing the hurt. Gets 2 kills for his team. Sure, well, yeah, he got 1 kill for his team in that fight. But he has so much survivability. The man was stunned twice, took a full combo from the Ezreal as well, and still is not dead. Back to full health immediately from taking 1 camp. It's just so hard for Team 1 to win this game at this point.
The Refugee just face tagged all of the CC, said, I don't care, you can't kill me anyways. Yeah, when the Vayne has the luxury of disregarding CC, your team is in a terrible spot. But they're gonna wait a little bit before they decide to do anything else. The shield bow cooldown will likely be up for the next fight, and it's just so hard to kill her at this point. Pack Rat, the itemization is so utility focused and so defensive. The Veigar is not going to be one-shotting the Vayne. Trio at this point, very unlikely to be able to 100-0 that Vayne just because of the pure defensive stats that Refugee has been able to itemize into. And it was looking really good for Team 1 there in the early game. They had a 5-0 Ezreal. They had a very large lead in the top lane, but things are just falling apart little by little. Spartan 87 was enough of a bridge to get them to this late game where the Vayne of Refugee can start popping off. Speaking of Spartan, it's been a while since we've seen that scene. He's taken us back to about 20 minutes ago, where he was just solo killing Pack Rat on a loop, and that's a big player to not have available for the coming engagements.
There's so much utility on that Veigar, not enough one-shot to be able to win out on his own fights. Trio Cryo, sure he can kill Dusty, but that's the member that they have to worry about the least in terms of taking off the Rift. Refugee from mid, along with the rest of the squad, is positioned topside. Baron is going to spawn very soon, only 10 seconds on that. Trio Cryo doesn't have his teleport backup either to follow up with a potential contest.
Yeah, Trio's bottom lane. Pack Rat is dead. L10 is not rotating quite fast enough to go for the miracle steal. Might make it over in time. It's burning down a little bit slower. But Spartan is on the watch.
This Ezreal ulti not going to be on time. There's the Baron secured for free Dusty, getting themselves both Soul and the Baron. About a minute left until Elder Dragon is available as well. They're collecting the buffs, collecting all the win conditions they can possibly have. So they still haven't even broken an inhibitor. So this Baron will likely be to set up for the base, set up for potentially closing out this game very soon. And Team 1 has to look for a strong gauge, has to look for the pick onto Refugee from mid. Spartan 87, it's a good pick to get a bunch of damage on. Not the pick that you want super early on. Already Misaki Suri is dead. Already is this going haywire across the board. That's the huge knockup though. The Cyclone is perfect and the GA is popped. This game is turned around on a whim and Team 1 win a fight.
The theme continues. Anytime one team comes out of a fight with a massive advantage, the other team just finds a miracle fight, takes it back. Team 1 says, we're not out of this just yet. Trio's Wukong is carrying Team 1 to the victory. These death timers are huge. They can just end.
They can end. Packrat's tanking up the turret. They're trying to get Dusty real quick. He doesn't have the damage. He's not the member that wants to defend. There's the first turret falling 20 seconds on the next big carry to come up. This game is going over to Team 1. It never even looked like it, but it's going to be the tournament victory off of the big throw, the big carry in the mid lane from Trio Cryo.
Oh my goodness. It was looking so good for free Dusty. They had it. They just needed to be calm, collected, precise for just a couple more minutes. They had the Baron buff. Just take it slow. Whittle down that inhibitor turret. But Team 1, it started with the pick on the Spartan. They took down that health bar and said, it's time to go, and ran over free Dusty in that fight. And with that, reversal of the winners finals result, takes first place after winning both games in grand finals.
That was not where I thought that was going to go. Especially with Refugee from mid, free hitting for the start of the fight, getting the starting kill onto the opposing support. Sure, it was traded back immediately onto the support of free Dusty, but it didn't even matter. As soon as that big combo came in, as soon as the CC was there to secure that big amount of damage across 3 players, the 3 remaining players of free Dusty, that fight was completely over. And really, Trio Cryo, not even the player on the team that we expected to be the big carry here, wasn't one of like the diamond or the master players on his team, is still the reason why they came away with that tournament victory.
Oh yeah, that Wukong was the Band-Aid holding on Team 1 in that game. For a while there in the mid game, it was looking like nothing was going their way. They had no hope for so long. That Wukong just putting in that much work, dominating the top lane matchup, both games, transitioning that into the mid game, late game team fights, and being, in my opinion, the MVP for that series.
That was the big win there for Team 1, and we can finally see our top 3 teams of this tournament so far. I believe we have a graphic ready for it on stream to transition over. As the 3rd place went over to Team 3 between Uwoof, Exasperated, I have OBC, Martin Ren 24, and K21 Yeet. In 2nd place, hashtag Free Dusty with Dusty Donuts in the top lane, Insta Arturo in the jungle, Spartan 87 mid, Refugee from mid, nearly clutching out that game in the end, but not quite being able to do it in the 80 carry position, Flappy Bits as support, and our victors of the tournament with the big victory over Free Dusty, Team 1 with Trio Cryo, the MVP in the top lane, L10 in the jungle, Packrat as the mid laner, Who Is This Mid as the AD carry, Misaki Sayuri as the support. Congratulations, players. enjoy your prizing.
That was a hell of a grand finals series from both teams. Immaculately played. Team 1, the clutch factor was incredible as they battled their way back from that deficit to take first place. I'm sure they'll be very, very pleased with their prizing from this one. Very well earned, very well deserved. Congratulations to all. And
We're going to have
we
a
may have an
post-game
interview?
interview in just a minute. I'm not sure exactly who we're interviewing, but it's just going to be voice. We're not going to be able to see our victors other than the voices, but we're going to see Team 1 in just a moment. I think we should go to a short break as we set this up. In just a moment, we'll be able to talk to you with the victors of this tournament. We'll see you in just a second. Hello, everybody. Welcome back for the winners interview with Team One's Pack Rat, as well as who was the other one, Mr. Pineapples?
L10.
Yeah, I was going.
We got L10.
L10. So we got the jungler and the mid laner. How are you guys doing? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep. Doing great.
Sweet. How's it feel to pull away with the victory after a long day? Mostly yesterday, but I think today was also a little troublesome.
I just like to start off with, I just had a really great time in this tournament. Signed up as a free agent, of course, and I just signed up as an autofill role, so it was really cool to experiment. Maybe not on the AD carry from yesterday if you guys saw me on stream, maybe not anymore, but it was fun playing mid lane today, and I think all the opponents were really great and everything, but it feels really great to come out with a victory after spending so much time in said tournament for these past 2 days. That was really awesome.
L10, how did you feel about it?
Oh, it was hella fun. Except for the first day. Oh my god, it was such a long grind. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, the team balancing were really good, actually. Like, for the last game, the finals, I didn't expect us to win. I thought we were, like, way behind, but we just won good team fight, and we actually ended the game. Yeah, it was really fun.
That's how it can go sometimes in League.
I want to ask a question regarding that because yesterday you guys did fall 2-1 to the team that you beat in finals today. Were you, after winning the losers finals match and getting that rematch, were you confident at all that you could make the run back and flip the tables on them in the finals?
Yeah, I felt confident in using the role swap that we switched and just having different champ pools. I think we caught him off guard by getting Viego in that first game of the finals. That felt good. Finally getting my Viego. And then the second game, I didn't do so well earlier game on the Veigar, but I think that the pick potential is always there in the late game.
Yeah, even before your first game yesterday, we were talking about if Packrat was going to be playing the Viego in this tournament. We took a look, and the only champion we saw was like the top 10 for OP.GG that was really like a mid laner sort of was the Viego, and it was just huge win rate, huge KDA, and it was great to see it finally come out, even if it was just for one game. It got you guys the finals. So there you go.
Yeah.
Now, another question I have to say is, what was the thought process behind the Veigar pick? As it was a very different idea from Viego. It was a big switch up, and especially going to the Silas, it had a bit of trouble.
So coming into the day, knowing that I was going to play mid lane, I was talking about what game I was going to pick Veigar in, and I already told my team I was going to save it for the last game probably. I didn't think he'd pick Silas again blind in game 3. I was hoping that he maybe go to second phase. I was looking to get it either against the Orianna or Azir potentially from Spartan 87, but he did pick it early, and I just thought I could play it safe. Obviously, I didn't play it that very safe. I got ganked early, and I just started solo dying over and over again. But I really like the pick because it has a lot of pick potential, and also their comp really fit well that they have a lot of melees like Set, Galio, and Lee Sin, so there's always that chance. As well as Silas too. They have 4 melees that game, so I felt like it's really great to use Veigar in that situation.
And I suppose going into one last question. That last game it was not looking too hot for a lot of that mid game. What were you guys feeling when that last team fight miraculously started going your way?
Oh, we rushed to the end. We're like, do you think we can end before we can even think about it? We're like, yeah, screw it. We're going to give it a shot. I don't want to do this anymore.
Don't want to be locked in the game with that.
It's like, yep.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was gonna add on. I think the Silas cut out near tower, and we were kind of like we just wanted to pop his zonias. That was fine. He hecker motes away, but then he started to engage, and we just started going all in. And our jungler just kept screaming Vayne the whole time, so we were just full dive to Vayne. Once we got our GA and got the rest of the team, we were just like 40 seconds. Let's just end the game. Like there's no more. We got our huge throw from the enemy team. Let's just take full advantage of it and try to end the game as soon as possible. And it worked out. So.
Definitely worked out indeed, and definitely pulled you guys the victory. I hope you take this win and enjoy it for the rest of however long you can enjoy it for. That's going to do it for our interview, and I believe the stream as well. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you to both L10 and Packrat for joining us in this interview. And on behalf of myself, David here, the rest of the broadcast team, and the tournament hosts, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Next E first. I did